White Deer Highlands. When Su Xing arrived at the location this purple star birth outline would appear at, the entire was already filled with people. As far as the eye could see, every sort of dazzling robe each shone. The 10 great sects were half of the number while the majority of the rest were sects of all names that had come. Su Xing already spotted more than a dozen supercluster stage cultivators alone. The elder ancestor longevity of the Lifeless Hall and the Xianzhenzi, too, of the True Immortal Hall of the two halls were especially conspicuous. Of the two, one had a ghostly gloom, a dark presence, with a cultivation of galaxy late stage. The other faintly released dust, unsullied with the mundane and was also galaxy late stage. In robbing and killing the purple birth outline, these two late stage great cultivators certainly could even be said to be powerful existences. The purple star grade birth outline was far from comparison to the earthly fiend and heavenly spirit. Its demon beast escorts all were 8th rank and above. At this rank, the so-called ants could bite an elephant to death, was a ridiculous matter. If there was not a favorable matchup or tacit understanding among them, even more scattered star cultivators would be cannon fodder. Thus, when the purple star grade appeared, besides the large sects and schools, the majority of scattered star cultivator schools all assumed an evasive state. It was not simple for Su Xing to masquerade his identity, for in Suwen's change appearance pill and Shi Yuan's sect plate were randomly arranged by him. Sneaking in among the others by pretending to be the disciple of a sect, Su Xing discreetly observed star masters. Yan Wudao was foregone, but as for her chilly figure, the long-departed Princess Ling Yan, Zhao Han Yan, had also appeared. Seeing her elegant and slim noble grace, it really was hard to imagine the secret relationship she had with the steadfast star Dong Junqing. Zhao Hanyan suddenly lowered her head, her gaze sweeping across the surroundings below. Princess, is there something wrong? Xianzhenzi faintly smiled. Yener is oversensitive. Zhao Hanyan said. In that instant just now, the intertwined branch sword of the 1,000-year contract briefly pulsed, seemingly sensing that the other divine sword was in the vicinity. Could it be that he had also come? Zhao Hanyan immediately recognized that this was not strange. He could not possibly not come for the purple star birth outline. Taoist Master Xian, it appears that the true immortal hall is amply imposing. With the lifeless hall on this side, ancestor longevity brought every disciple to welcome him. From the pure black robes distributed among the lifeless hall, as if glancing at a deep pool, it made those people exude a chill. The sect's disciples each had excellent cultivation and a pitch-black flying sword upon them. How could it compare to the lifeless hall's imposing air? With unexpectedly more than 50 galaxy cultivators approaching, this certainly is a great style. Xianzhenzi laughed aloud. Though the purple star outline was good, its demon beast escorts were extremely powerful. The majority of the sects all braced for the unpredictable. Only dispatching several great elders was enough, so as to avoid making a few disciples into useless cannon fodder. This palace naturally will do his utmost. Princess Lingyan, this palace has heard you obtain the purple star token. Truly, the young show promise. Ancestor Longevity smiled gloomily. The younger generations are but only lucky. Zhao Hanyan warmly said. The Dong Junqing beside her coldly stared at this ancestor Longevity, coming across as a bit rude. The 1,000 cultivators suddenly made several noises. A cyan magical cloud appeared from out of nowhere, its magic breath lingering. In an instant, it attracted the stares of all the star cultivators present. Upon the cyan magical cloud was a cyan-robed, extremely aged old man with a long beard. His glistening expression had spirit, and the White Deer Highlands immediately was enveloped under a serene light. In the old man's surroundings were 100 galaxy stage and higher disciples. Relentlessness was in their eyes, full of an imposing air, seemingly like divine troops, completely awe-inspiring. Ha! This clear void most high paths, extreme clarity elder immortal, 3, is indeed fond of playing this sort of spectacle. Ancestor Longevity sorrowfully smiled, yet Xianzhenzi was indifferent. Xie Zhenyuan was defeated by some monster, yet is that all? It would be best to not be careless. The newcomers were Liangshan's premier great sect, the Most High Path. Standing beside this extreme clarity elder immortal was a youth, and besides Xie Zhenyuan's complete conspicuousness, he had an elegance, a warm and sleek jade. At first glance, he actually seemed to be a proper gentleman. Su Xing and the other cultivators alike were amazed and envious seeing the boundless scene of these great sects go up on stage. Then, riding in on clump of clouds and mist, the extreme ice holy palace also appeared. In the lead was the refined and premier ice, and the long-absent Gong Kai Wei was still tranquil as a chrysanthemum, like the first time they met, her attire snowy and unreasoning. Afterwards, the Divine Flame Sword Sect and the Tai Sword Sect each arrived. Besides the entirety of Crystal Dragon Palace and the Blooming Water Sword Sect of the Azure Dragon Territories, 1 clear, 2 halls, 3 palaces, 4 sword sects, appearing on scene, the powerful imposing air of these great sects actually made people unable to take deep breaths. This lot of crickets and ants also have the idea of obtaining the birth outline. Indeed, they act recklessly. From the Tai Sword Sect, a youth with a high forehead hatefully said. This time, the Tai Sword Sect's leader, the Galaxy Middle Stage ancestor Huaimu, 5, faintly smiled. Su Feng, 6, you must not be arrogant. If they do not throw away their lives for the birth outline, could it be that you would prefer our sect to do so? Master lectures rightly. Su Feng nodded. This time, properly note these star masters. They will be your foes in the future. Ancestor Huaimu's expression swept past Zhao Hanyan, Yan Wudao, Gong Kaiwei, and the rest. Disciple engraves this to memory. While the White Deer Highlands were all in a clamor, Su Xing also sized up all the intelligence he had, particularly the star masters of the 10 great sects. These people could be said to be the Azure Dragon Territory's most famous and most powerful opponents. His mandated glance at Song Kaiwei, Zhao Hanyan and Yan Wudao aside, Xie Zhenyuan actually made Su Xing look at him more closely. Never expected this many people would come. This is too extreme. Shi Yuan was slightly distressed inside his ocean of consciousness. Why would so many people come? It seems this purple star grade birth outline is even more thorny. Wu Xinjie was also deeply worried. There were this many supercluster cultivators, and it looked as if the purple star grade birth outline's escorts were at least 9th rank demon beasts. Follow them as they kill, and we can take advantage of them when the time comes. Shi Yuan giggled. This indeed was the optimum strategy, after all, confronting every extraordinary of the 10 great sect, let alone Su Xing being only galaxy early stage, honestly had no advantages whatsoever that could be mentioned. The other sects had a burst of a disturbance, somewhat also unsettled by the 10 great sects deploying this many experts. However, the purple star birth outline was something once in a century, after all. Bold people would still stay behind, and this number was considerable. Approximately after another oil lamp. Suddenly, the horizon exhibited a ray of light, and the purple star grade birth outline already appeared. Everyone became excited, striking seals and raising riding swords one after another. Each used their powers, standing by at the ready. The 10 great sects spoke nothing more, all of them moving in their respective directions, unwilling to join hands with the other sections. In a short while, this flower-shaped auspicious cloud of multicolored light flew over, and in the blink of an eye, several enormous silhouettes could be seen quaking inside the magical cloud. What is that? Ah! This is bad. The crowd abruptly cried out in fear. The expressions of several of the originally still composed galaxy cultivators suddenly showed great changes, and when they saw the purple star grade birth outline, they truly were shocked beyond compare. That magical cloud was enormous, close to 1,000 li in length. They saw only within that auspicious purple magical cloud the 5 different colored lights of gold, cyan, black, crimson and silver roll forward without stopping. Wherever it passed, it practically hid the sky and covered the earth. Hearing that dragon roar shake the plains, penetrating the blue dome of heaven, a surging perilous alarm was raised in the hearts of the cultivators. The countless commoners who witnessed this scene earnestly kowtowed in reverence. Even Su Xing could not help but tremble a bit when he saw those 5 multicolored lights. Those, astonishingly, were 5 ancient 9th-rank dragons. The golden one was the heaven-tearing gold dragon, 7, the silver was the heaven-swallowing silver dragon, 8, the cyan was the heaven-breaking cyan dragon, 9, the black the heaven-devouring black dragon, 10, and the red one was the heaven-burning crimson dragon. 11, they were the Liangshan shaking 5 great firmaments demon dragons. 12, the 5 firmaments dragons rolled in the cloud layer, and in this cloud was an immense object, obscured by a purple light. From its shape, it seemed to be a huge palace. The 5 dragons' protection palace. 13, everyone was astonished. No one had expected the ones escorting the purple star grade to surprisingly be the 5 firmament dragons. This purple star birth outline's escort team truly continued for 1,000 li. In nearly the next second, the star cultivators from the large schools looked at each other in dismay, then turned and ran without the slightest hesitation. Who were they kidding? With 5 dragons tugging a palace, any more thoughts of robbing and killing, and they would not even know what would happen if they actually died. In the blink of an eye, the White Deer Highlands that was originally packed with people were left with only the 10 great sects and the schools whose participation was agreed upon. Other than the supercluster cultivators that could maintain their shock, each and every disciple under their banners was pale, their expressions anxious. Unexpectedly, it is the 5 dragons' protection palace. I fear that this birth outline will not be easy to plunder. Wu Xinjie said. Su Xing did not reply. His gaze was dead set on the faraway golden dragon. At this time, 8 great sects each harbored sinister, ulterior motives. Ha, ha. This purple star grade is the 5 firmaments dragons. This indeed is not bad. These supercluster elder Taoists were not afraid. On the contrary, they smiled. In the Azure Dragon territory, this sort of demon beast originally was rare, and those like dragons were even more legendary. Thus, could an insignificant blooming water dragon be sold for a sky-high price? How could these great cultivators have any sense to be courteous upon seeing those 5 dragons? As far as they were concerned, 9th rank was galaxy stage, with the addition of staking their life. They actually drove away those crickets and ants overestimating their own abilities. Saves us the trouble of doing it ourselves. Ancestor Longevity sneered. It is still best to mind these dragons. When these words fell, these great sects then changed into escape lights. Young master, what do we do? Lin Yingmei opened her mouth. Confronting a 9th rank dragon, this absolutely was not a laughing matter. No need to worry. Ha, ha, if we seize this chance, we could just be able to put the first sword chant in hand. Su Xing chuckled. Eh. In an instant, the 5 dragons bringing the purple star chest arrived at White Deer Highlands. A close-up look at these ancient dragons was even more terrifying, and the gigantic purple cloud seemingly wanted to step downwards. The 5 dragons' bodies were continuous and unending, their ends not in sight. The dragons shuttled back and forth in the sea of clouds, a sort of legendary tremor made Su Xing unable to breathe. A dragon roar shook the 4 directions of the plain. Although they were 5 dragons, they simply kept very far from each other, with each dragon protecting the 4 directions, yet there was actually a very big opportunity. Otherwise, the 5 dragons were neatly assembled. Granted that it was more than a dozen supercluster cultivators, they would be uncertain, but seeing the legendary 5 dragons protection palace for the first time, even the extreme clarity elder immortal also had a grim face, not daring to act. For a time, the atmosphere was extremely calm. Su Xing had long already used the oneness of heaven and man to conceal himself in a nook to prepare to be the one that ran away with the bone. 14. If he faced these dragons, he definitely did not have a chance. However, he did not care about this first pillaging the purple star birth outline. Su Xing pinched 2 fingers, and a bolt of purple divine thunder slashed forth. Not one of the cultivators that happened to be suppressed firmly by the purple chi of the 5 dragons' protection palace noticed this at all. Boom! The divine thunder struck into the clouds, as if igniting a powder keg. The 5 dragons bellowed, topping mountains and rivers. Kill! The world immediately was desolate. The 5 ninth-rank firmament's dragons became angry, and hence, the world also was fine with becoming angry. A huge purple cloud covered the White Deer Highlands, and the 5 dragons launched an attack on all the cultivators in their surroundings. 9th-rank demon beasts were classified as peak supercluster stage, so the few sects present could only count as a single battle. Immediately, dazzling light circulated, and several thousand flying swords or sword chants became arrays or formed into shapes that moved incessantly between the dragons. Its imposing manner could be seen 1,000 li away. Several dozen large schools and thousands of galaxy stage cultivators gathered together to surround the immense purple cloud, constantly launching attacks. Due to the 5 dragons' protection, they could at first only tear open a gash that could be entered. Su Xing was happily relaxed, feasting his eyes on the battle of the number of supercluster late-stage cultivators from below. What the strongest Most High Path surrounded was the heaven-breaking Cyan Dragon. The Most High Path's senior monk Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal was peak supercluster, so he had a fighting chance against this dragon. He snapped his fingers, and 33 streaks of jade light flying swords unceasingly circled around his body, like winding and running water, continuous and unending. The heaven-breaking Cyan Dragon sprayed from its mouth a green light that was blocked by the Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal's sword array, which was unexpectedly not shook up in the slightest by the 9th-rank demon beast's attack. When the heaven-breaking dragon saw this, it pounced in a tackle. The 100 jade lights at this moment shot forth with a whoosh. The Most High Path's galaxy late-stage cultivators immediately acted to put every sort of sword chant on display. Hundreds of flying swords tacitly understood one another completely, like an enormous sword that cut down the heaven-breaking Cyan Dragon. Besides the galaxy late-stage cultivators, the other galaxy early-stage disciples took charge of protection magic, so as to avoid bringing about a change. Everything advanced according to plan, worthy of the Azure Dragon Territory's number 1 sect. The Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal opened his mouth, and 12 jade flames suddenly were spat out. These jade flames spun around the heaven-breaking Cyan Dragon's whole body. Although this dragon was very large, its dragon head would always be its vital point. At this moment, those brilliant flames extinguished. Then, 8 ancient mirrors seemingly made of jadeite were produced. These mirrors were about the size of a palm with one side glossy as water, manifesting a bluish light, and the other side was like stirred lake water, giving rise to ripples. That happened to be the Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal's strongest magic weapon, jade light-colored glass mirror. Go! All of a sudden, the jade light-colored glass mirror's light rays greatly flourished. With a brief shudder, 12 pillars of jade light thick as a bowl sprayed out from the mirror. Practically the moment these jade light pillars shot out, they nearly did not give anyone time to react. The jade light then suddenly became a large net that trapped this heaven-breaking Cyan Dragon. Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal executed an incantation, and a jadeite flame reached the skies. The heaven-breaking Cyan Dragon loudly cried. Su Xing's expression secretly changed. This supercluster late-stage cultivator was an abnormal existence, as expected, and the Most High Path displayed it so with much awe. The other great sects were not inferior, though. The black sword of the lifeless Hall's ancestor Longevity became a deep pool, seemingly wrapping the heaven-devouring black dragon within an abyss. His magic weapon was also similarly shocking. It was an enormous black long sword with an indistinct form, and the heaven-devouring black dragon would howl in grief every time the sword swung. The true immortal hall, the extreme ice holy palace, the divine flame sword sect and the other sects each fought one dragon. Not only was this to break open a gap, they desired to take these dragons for themselves. All the cultivators had no time to be unoccupied, besides one sword sect. Although the Tai sword sect also had the appearance of putting up a fight, they actually were insignificant. Superficially attacking, they clearly knew they could not vie against these large schools. Waiting for when they broke the 5 dragons' protection, then they would look for an opportunity. Su Xing, just now, you said the first sword chance material is at hand. What did you mean? Shi Yuan asked. Could it be the heaven-tearing gold dragon? Wu Xinjie was stunned. The heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 elements swords metal scroll just so happened to require the heaven-tearing gold dragon scales for forging. But Big Brother simply cannot forge it right now. And how can you manage with this many people? And Suan was confused. The Divine Flame Sword sect was dealing with the heaven-tearing gold dragon. Their heaven-burning sword chant was also incomparably powerful, and although it currently looked to be somewhat dangerous, to snatch this heaven-tearing gold dragon from their hands was not possible. And, the current problem, besides these allied sects, the other sects would not permit us to approach. Lin Yingmei also said. Seeing those protective magic cultivators each have a nervous expression, they were facing a powerful enemy. Naturally, there is a way. Su Xing's eyes rolled about, and he chuckled. Hearing Su Xing's words, An Suan, Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan then emerged from the star nest to ease Su Xing's battle burdens. The knowledge star applied speed is a crucial asset in war for Su Xing. Su Xing, young lord, big brother, be careful. Su Xing nodded and held his breath, using the innate Bagua escape technique. The purple cloud was extremely massive, and though these cultivators took every precaution against danger, they could not possibly guard everyone, thus each stayed in his own range. This gave Su Xing an opportunity to exploit. Lin Yingmei and Yan Yizhen both did not understand just what way Su Xing was about to use, but they then saw him assume a new appearance, his whole body tattered in a somewhat sorry figure, his robes half destroyed. Then, Su Xing flew towards the Tai sword sect. When a Tai sword sect cultivator saw someone flying towards them, he immediately raised the alarm. Your servant is one who serves the Divine Flame Sword sect founder, specially requesting the senior of the Tai sword sect to ally together to kill that heaven-tearing gold dragon. Su Xing cupped his fist, loudly speaking, presenting a token which was unmistakably the Divine Flame Sword sect's. The Tai sword sect's people stopped. Ancestor Huaimu chuckled as he looked at Su Xing, even assuming his sidelining strategy had been found out. He said somewhat awkwardly, does the Divine Flame Sword sect not style itself as clinging fire-restricting metal? This heaven-tearing gold dragon even requires us to lend a hand. I am sure Senior understands, but our founder is somewhat unable to oppose it any more that he would have disciple hastily request Senior for assistance. Su Xing faked an extremely anxious appearance. Lin Yingmei thought, this young master truly can put on a performance. However, this dragon needs to be divided evenly. Ancestor Huaimu said, this is naturally so. Su Xing continuously nodded. Disciples, go. Ancestor Huaimu also felt that if they continued to stay on the sidelines, when the birth outline ended, they could not easily report back a successful mission, and thus did he have the idea to go kill. Su Xing brought the Tai sword sect, immediately rushing there, dashing at the front. Huaimu thought, this youth is actually eager for his sect. To be this worried, for the Divine Flame Sword sect to be entirely of disciples like this is honestly eye-opening. But how could he know that Su Xing at this time was putting on a play of, utilizing asymmetric information, a classic psychological deception? The Divine Sword sect's confrontation with the heaven-tearing gold dragon already was somewhat strenuous, and suddenly seeing so many of the Tai Sword sect's people rush over, they thought the Tai Sword sect were trying to loot a burning house. Just at this moment, they heard the youth at the very front say, the Tai Sword sect's senior has arrived to assist. Die, dragon! Su Xing only yelled this because he had initially wanted the Divine Flame Sword sect to believe he was someone from the Tai sword sect, however, he had overreached and actually increased their morale. Ancestor Huaimu, you finally have bothered to come. The Divine Sword Sect's Heavenly Fire founder coldly chuckled. He had known a bit about Ancestor Huaimu's sidelining for plundering the birth outline. Ancestor Huaimu chuckled. Has this ancestor not come to help fellow? When the Tai Sword Sect disciples arrived, they used their sword chants. The Tai sword art was unstoppable, bringing great relief to the Divine Flame Sword Sect's pressure. The biggest hole in Su Xing's plan right now was that there would not be two great sect sword chants. However, this did not pose a problem for him. Su Xing clapped his hands, and the clinging fire star domain sword appeared and then, the sword raising clinging fire. Leisurely raising it, a wave of fire swept out, burning hot and unending. The people of the two great sects watching were dumbstruck. This clinging fire star domain sword happened to correspond with the Divine Flame Sword Sect, so the Tai Sword Sect had no doubts. They only felt that the Divine Flame Sword Sect was only naturally of a big style, and it was a galaxy early-stage cultivator that unexpectedly had this rank of a weapon. The Divine Flame Sword Sect was even more astonished. That clinging fire star domain sword's might was witnessed by their eyes. What was somewhat odd was why would the Tai Sword Sect give this astral treasure to a galaxy early-stage cultivator? Could it be that he was a star master? This hair's breadth fight did not give either side too much time to reflect. For now, facing this golden dragon was the most important thing, and this gave Su Xing a chance to exploit a classic trap. The heaven-tearing gold dragon roared, and 100 golden light beams sputtered to life. These light beams flashed and promptly extinguished. Su Xing's reactions already were extremely strong, hastily blocking with the clinging fire star domain sword when only the flash passed by. Bang! A powerful force seemingly tore apart his internal organs, making Su Xing spit out a mouthful of blood. This was a 9th-rank demon beast, something Su Xing simply could not contend against with his current abilities. Several blood-curdling screams. Su Xing turned his head and saw more than a dozen cultivators show frightened expressions. These cultivators, already completely guarding against everything, did not yet return to their senses. He immediately saw their defensive artifacts had been penetrated. A large hole appeared in their stomachs, and bodies fell from the sky. You animal! Ancestor Heavenly Fire threw out a magic weapon, a red pearl that ignited a fireball. When the fireball appeared, even Su Xing felt his body was seemingly on fire. This magic weapon was awesome, as expected. Hey! The red pearl smashed against the top of the heaven-tearing gold dragon's head, and a blinding flame burned a terrifying hole of raging fire into it. The heaven-tearing gold dragon angrily roared. Its dragon claw tore, and another dozen star cultivators were ripped apart in the blink of an eye. Su Xing's whole body broke out in a cold sweat of fear. It was a thrilling escape, but the claws might still shocked him away a few hundred meters. His entire body had been ripped open with many tiny wounds. This moment also made Ancestor Heavenly Fire's defensive magic weapon totter on the edge of collapse. The 9th-rank demon beast after all was peak supercluster, and Ancestor Heavenly Fire and the others were no more than middle stage. Despite the difference being only a single realm, the power was the difference between the sky and the earth. Ancestor Heavenly Fire's whole body shook, and he roared, Ancestor Huaimu, this ancestor's boundless sun pearl, too, has been used, yet you still will not bring out your clear sky peak? 3. Don't be hasty. Does this ancestor not happen to want to use it now? Ancestor Huaimu chuckled, and 50, 60 flying swords first protected his front. Then, he struck seals with both hands, and they saw a miniature mountain peak appear on his hand. That peak was verdant and glistening, very much like models Su Xing had seen before, like a large mountain shrunk 100 times. Ancestor Huaimu read an incantation, revolving his star energy, and then threw it towards the sky. That peak suddenly expanded in the wind, instantly swelling 100 times in size, just like an actual massive mountain had suddenly appeared. Ancestor Huaimu launched out several streaks of light, and that clear sky peak's jade light fully manifested, an immense shadow covering them. Go! Ancestor Huaimu shouted. The clear sky peak pressed towards the heaven-tearing gold dragon. On Grindstone Mountain, he had been graced with the might of Ancestor Bailey's magic weapon, but now, it seemed that it paled in comparison. These two supercluster cultivators' magic weapons were even more extremely valiant. The boundless sun pearl pounded the heaven-tearing gold dragon into hissing, and this clear sky peak weighed down upon the heaven-tearing gold dragon's head, as if to crush it to death. This 9th-rank dragon was indeed fierce, unexpectedly pinning a large mountain. Ancestor Huaimu lost his relaxed appearance. His cold sweat overflowed, his teeth gritted tightly, and the life-cast flying swords around his body appeared unstable because of his grimness. The gold light of the heaven-tearing gold dragon's entire body thoroughly resisted the clear sky peak. If it was not for the boundless sun pearl that Ancestor Heavenly Fire used continuously launching attacks, suppressing it, perhaps this Ancestor Huaimu basically would have had no way to resist. Su Feng, all of you, quickly advance. Ancestor Huaimu shouted aloud. Your Highness, Heng, we must rely on you. Ancestor Heavenly Flame simultaneously shouted. When Su Xing looked, two youths appeared from the rear. In the crowd of galaxy cultivators, two Nebula late-stage cultivators seemed to stick out peculiarly, and to be able to make the 10 great sects bring along Nebula late stages that appeared right now during this dangerous purple star grade birth outline, their words even brimmed with an intention to rely on their help. Su Xing nearly did not have to think to know the status of these two Star Masters. Beside the Su Feng of the Tai Sword sect appeared a young girl with white ears and short hair, wearing black clothes as well as white armor. A pair of essence chi sprung from her eyes, and her hand held a white spear embroidered with black. Upon that spear were two shimmering stars. However, what was even more noteworthy was the Divine Flame Sword Sect Star Master. Your Highness, Heng. Su Xing immediately recalled that Wu Xingjie once wanted him to be wary of the great Liang's progeny, Xiao Heng. He looked, and naturally, he saw a youth with magnificent red garb, an icily arrogant expression, a respectable temperament and clutching an astral tool in his hand. However, even more noteworthy was the girl beside Xiao Heng. A purple simple and elegant palace dress, graceful and gorgeous beauty, a look brimmed with a severe expression. She sneered, and a long axe with a fire dragon coiled around it appeared in her hand. The axe head had a fiery dragon flit past, and 3 red shining stars glittered in the long axe's surroundings. Su Xing was stunned. Not only him, but also every cultivator present revealed astonished expressions. That Su Feng before them was even more overwhelmed. A 3-star destined star weapon. Unbelievable. A Heavenly Star's 3-star destined weapon. Turning a Star General star weapon to 2-star was a threshold. Each increment of level would be several times more troublesome than the previous, especially for Heavenly Stars. To have a 3-star in the second phase, this speed could not possibly not shock people. The 100,000 Dragon Flame Axe. The ranked 19th Flight Star, Impatient Vanguard Sua Chao. 2. Extraordinary, extraordinary. This ancestor did not expect the Divine Flame Sword Sect Star General to unexpectedly be 3-star. You deserve to be called the Great Liang Dynasty's Second Highness. The number 1 Star Master of the Azure Dragon Territory should yield to your majesty. Ancestor Huaimu gloomily sneered. Ancestor Heavenly Fire grunted. If it was not for the urgent state of affairs, he honestly did not want to have the impatient vanguard reveal herself. Ha, ha, if this guy knew His Highness Star General was about to advance to 4-star, he wondered what sort of expression would be made. Elder sister is very incredible, with a star weapon unexpectedly already 3-star. Su Feng's black-robed, white-armored Star General also showed a surprised expression. Her hand hefted a red tasseled spear. The 2 stars on the spear glinted, circulating a dark light, a gorgeous blood-red color. This spear was known as 100 Wars Bloodthirst, and this happened to be the 42nd ranked Majestic Star General of 100 Victories Han Tao's destined star weapon. 3. The impatient vanguard Sua Chao hooked her lips into a smile. Idling will lead to fighting over the chest. As long as little sister Han Tao does not hinder this palace, elder sister will be lenient. The General of 100 Victories Han Yao showed a slightly unsightly expression and was unwilling.Qingshuang. Zhao Heng ordered her. The flight star Sua Qingshuang nodded. Saying nothing more, she leapt up, her hands raising the 100,000 dragon flame axe. Sneering as she hacked towards the heaven-tearing gold dragon, the three-star destined weapon's might was astonishing, the axe's edge seemingly ripping apart space, raging flames curling about. It made all the surrounding cultivators have a difficult time drawing near. Qing. 5. Su Feng also said. The majestic star general of 100 Victories Han Qing simultaneously lifted the 100 Wars Bloodthirst spear and stabbed at the heaven-tearing gold dragon. The heaven-tearing gold dragon hissed a long cry. The star weapon's attack certainly was not that easy to get through, especially a 3-star destined weapon. When this axe head went down, it carved out a severe wound. The dragon blood that sprayed and splashed out was immediately evaporated clean away by the axe head's blaze. Ancestor Huai Mu pointed 2 fingers together, stimulating several threads of star energy. The clear sky peak became even more heavy and pushed harder. The heaven-tearing gold dragon's tail violently swept, brushing aside more than a dozen cultivators, and Ancestor Heavenly Fire also was swept away. Availing itself the time where the boundless sun pearl was not attacking, the heaven-tearing gold dragon's entire body radiated a blinding golden light. Shaking the heavens with its dragon roar, it rushed into the sky. Rumble. Ancestor Huai Mu spat out a mouthful of blood, his expression greatly changing. Such a large clear sky peak had been unexpectedly shattered into fragments by the heaven-tearing gold dragon. The 9th-rank demon beast's power was visibly terrifying. Su Xing to the side watched with his heart pounding in fright. If he alone killed the heaven-tearing gold dragon, he did not know what year nor what month forging would be finished. Simply bestowed with such an enormous chance in this purple star-grade birth outline, Su Xing absolutely could not miss it. Glancing at the 2-star generals, Su Xing raised the clinging fire star domain sword. The sword became a fire dragon that pounced onto the heaven-tearing gold dragon. However, there were 2 large schools vying against each other, so he definitely had no interest in fighting his hardest. Breaking away from the clear sky peak suppression, the heaven-tearing gold dragon looked as if it had been set free, its body nimbly rolling inside the purple cloud. Its dragon claws repeatedly launched attacks towards the 2-star generals. The impatient vanguard Sua Qingshuang and the general of 100 Victories Han Qing were of excellent martial prowess, relying on the 2-star and frightening 3-star destined weapons to stop the heaven-tearing gold dragon's terrifying offensive. The disciples of the 2 large sects successively used their powerful sword chants. The Yi-Wood sword technique, 6, and the Divine Flame sword technique became 2 types of opposite powers that continuously battered the heaven-tearing gold dragon and its dragon scales that were like a pool of gold. Although it brought about a feeble result, the long-term accumulation could produce injuries. The heaven-tearing gold dragon was somewhat angry it had been tangled by everyone. It spat out a golden light, and this golden light became countless golden dragons that bit at everyone. Whatever flying sword or artifact it hit was devoured. One look showed that the heaven-tearing gold dragon had used its special ability. These cultivators hastily retreated, using every sort of defensive artifact. Zhao Heng grasped in his hand an astral treasure. A crimson light protected his body, and Su Feng also raised a gong in front of him. Their star generals also consciously guarded the front of their young masters. This power of the heaven-tearing gold dragon actually could not hurt them. Su Xing was anything but reassured. When the golden light rushed over, that speed actually was shocking, and he just was not able to powers the likes of the blooming water divine thunder lest he expose his identity. He could only completely rely on the clinging fire domain sword to break these golden lights. The 9th rank heaven-tearing gold dragon was very much incredible, for when several dozen golden lights rushed over, even the clinging fire star domain sword was beginning to gradually weaken. Continuously spraying several of the golden star rivers, the heaven-tearing gold dragon abruptly rose high into the air, its dragon talons again ripping several galaxy late-stage disciples to pieces. Heavenly fire, hold back any more, and we will certainly die here. Ancestor Huaimu shouted when he saw this heaven-tearing gold dragon was so tyrannical, throwing out a magic weapon as he spoke. For this ancestor's protection magic. Ancestor Heavenly Fire was also irate. His hand beckoned, and those several dozen flying swords of his became raging infernos that mutually overlapped and slashed towards the heaven-tearing gold dragon. Afterwards, he made a hand seal, and the boundless sun pearl returned to his front. Elder Heavenly Fire's mouth opened, spraying out bursts of bright red true fire. These true flames were odd, for they condensed and did not disperse, revolving without pause in front of Ancestor Heavenly Fire. One flicker mixed with another, and afterwards, they directly dissolved into the boundless sun pearl. The dim light of the boundless sun pearl's body became very red, its temperature high enough to make the air around Ancestor Heavenly Fire distort. The other disciples that knew the ancestral master was using his strongest ability hastily withdrew upon seeing this. The heaven-tearing gold dragon also senses that abnormally high temperature. Its mouth opened, pouncing towards Ancestor Heavenly Fire. Intercept. Ancestor Huaimu read his sword chant, and several dozen flying swords formed a sword wall to block in front of Ancestor Heavenly Fire. The heaven-tearing gold dragon slammed the sword wall to the edge of collapse, and Ancestor Huaimu's expression was increasingly grave. Condensed flame boundless Sunday mountains and rivers entirely burn. 7. After Ancestor Heavenly Fire finished spitting out several dozen flames, the boundless sun pearl was compacted into a tiny sun. Seeing him squeeze out a hand seal, the sword wall immediately scattered, and that boundless sun pearl struck against the heaven-tearing gold dragon's head. This seemingly was as if the 9th rank dragon's whole body had been doused in gasoline, suddenly igniting a raging blaze from head to toe, even stirring the purple cloud. Su Xing's heart tightened when he saw this, for he honestly feared that Ancestor Heavenly Fire would burn this heaven-tearing gold dragon to ashes. That was a loss that outweighed the gains. Roar. The sound of a dragon roar made Su Xing calm his heart, and he could not help but admire how valiant this heaven-tearing dragon was. When the fire cloud dispersed, the heaven-tearing gold dragon surprisingly directly swallowed the boundless sun pearl in one gulp. Then, it spat out hundreds of streaks of sharp golden light. When Ancestor Heavenly Fire saw this, he immediately operated his sword chant. More than 30 red fire flying swords promptly clumped together and wrapped him within. Hey! At this moment, the majestic star general of 100 victories Han Tao was like an acrobat, the bloody spear carving out an arc that ripped apart the sky as it slashed the heaven-tearing gold dragon. With a great shock, she used her yellow rank spear technique, one-stroke violent death. 8. It will do for this palace to assist you a bit. The flight star Suo Qingshuang coldly chuckled, slashing with her long axe. Unlike Han Qing, she did not use her yellow rank style. As far as heavenly stars were concerned, using yellow rank styles before the pivotal moment was self-harming behavior, but the impatient vanguard used all of her star energy. The axe head cut into the heaven-tearing gold dragon's body, like a nail was hammered into it. That maneuver of Ancestor Heavenly Fire already made the heaven-tearing dragon rather battered, and that layer of heavenly fire had seemingly burned off its drive. In the battle afterwards, 2 star generals shifted and moved, their star weapons repeated attacks eliciting howls of grief from the heaven-tearing gold dragon. The nearby Su Xing gradually halted his attacks and dodged away with the other disciples to make a defensive formation. Watching the 2 star generals and 2 ancestral masters battle the heaven-tearing gold dragon, in his mind, he controlled the soul-sealing bottle to prepare to be the one who got away with the bone. Demon beasts were unable to be taken into empty astral bags while they had souls. Only when its soul was forced out would its spirit hole open. This corpse could then be easily stored, but looking at these two supercluster cultivators also becoming restless, it seemed snatching the dragon's corpse would not be that simple. The heaven-tearing gold dragon's claws randomly flailed, it gold light sprayed, and its talons, tail and horn were all like weapons. Ancestor Heavenly Fire and Ancestor Huaimu already were continuously straining, secretly shocked the 9th rank's close combat yielded truly incredible results. If these two had not joined hands, perhaps they already would have been finished. Considering to this point, Ancestor Heavenly Fire's dozens of flying swords once again flashed with flame, becoming several dozen dragons that rolled towards the heaven-tearing gold dragon. Ancestor Heavenly Fire, once this dragon is slain, how about we evenly split it? Ancestor Huaimu was increasingly restless as he looked at the heaven-tearing gold dragon. Has this ancestor ever wronged you? Ancestor Heavenly Fire controlled his sword chant, making the flying swords that filled the sky ceaselessly attack. When Ancestor Huaimu heard this, he used his strongest sword array. More than 50 flying swords neatly shot into the sky and simultaneously fell down, vaguely forming a complex array pattern. Tai Sword Array. 9. The Ancestral Master has used the Tai Sword Array, we must also advance. When the Tai Sword sect disciples saw this, each was excited, the sword chants they used hardly careless. Su Xing also seized the chance to rush out. The heaven-tearing gold dragon no longer was capable of supporting itself. Being entangled in the attack of a sword array of several hundred flying swords, the golden light protecting its body was increasingly feeble. Its claws and groans gradually lost their edge. Smart people knew from a glance the heaven-tearing gold dragon was at its end. Roar! The heaven-tearing gold dragon at death's doorstep fought. Waving its dragon claws, it sent Suo Qingshuang and Han Qing flying. The two ancestors shouted, completely stimulating their star energy, and the sword array fell just like a torrential downpour. The heaven-tearing gold dragon's cries shook the heavens, and it finally faced the sky and made a long hiss, its protective golden light immediately going out. When Ancestor Heavenly Fire and Ancestor Huaimu saw this, they excitedly rushed forth, wanting to seize the heaven-tearing gold dragon. Just at this moment, all of a sudden, a silhouette moved. Flashing in front of them, it made a beeline for the already dying dragon. Ancestral Masters, discuss once more. Disciple shall first go help the Ancestral Masters receive it. Su Xing loudly yelled, not neglecting what was underfoot in the slightest. Ancestor Heavenly Fire was blank, having never experienced before that an apprentice would vie for something in front of a supercluster stage Ancestral Master. Turning his head to Ancestor Huaimu, he mocked, your Tai Sword sect has honestly taught a good disciple among you. He actually is not afraid to die. What? Is that not your sword sect's disciple? Ancestor Huaimu froze, saying in disbelief, it was actually he who made us help you. This ancestor indeed wanted to call someone, but then you came, the faces of the two ancestral masters changed. Damn, we have been fooled. Turning their heads to look, they saw an immense bolt of purple thunder shoot out of that youth's hand. The purple thunderbolt directly cut into the heaven-tearing gold dragon. This 9th rank demon beast unexpectedly was pierced right through and died. Everyone was shaken, having never seen a galaxy early-stage cultivator possess such a nimble method. This was bad. He was the purple thunder monster. The calm Zhao Heng could not help but shout when he saw that terrifying purple thunder. Did they hear, purple thunder monster? Everyone was startled. The two ancestors' reactions were extremely quick. Using escape techniques, they then arrived before Su Xing. At this time, they happened to see Su Xing about to store away the heaven-tearing gold dragon's corpse after having already taken its soul. Ancestor Heavenly Fire's palm chopped, the blaze on it roaring, imposing and fierce. In his heart, he sneered, so what if you are the purple thunder monster? Unexpectedly daring to amuse yourself at this ancestor's expense, entirely extinguish your mind first then move. The two supercluster middle stage cultivators were filled with confidence as they acted. All of a sudden at this moment, two light rays shot out, and two graceful figures simultaneously appeared to Su Xing's left and right. One had a flourishing heroic air while the other was oppressively cold. A cold spear flashed and swept, and two fists waved and danced. Ancestor Heavenly Fire and Ancestor Huai Mu were thwarted, having been shaken back. Arctic Star Serpent Spear. Yin Yang Pisces. Two star generals. The founders were shocked. Let's go. Su Xing stored the heaven-tearing gold dragon and was giddy in his heart. Because the heaven-tearing gold dragon perished, the purple star platform at this time showed a gap on one face. Su Xing seized the opportunity to hastily fly towards the purple cloud. Ancestor Heavenly Fire relentlessly pursued, unwilling to let him go. His sword chant frantically chased Su Xing, but when it touched the purple cloud, it stumbled and was unable to continue after a short while. Ancestor Heavenly Fire knew that was the purple star platform for bid dance, where only those with star generals could enter it. He flew into a rage, angered enough his face turned the color of pig's liver. He had expended immense effort, suffered countless casualties to kill the heaven-tearing gold dragon, only now to have it stolen away by someone. Furthermore, it was a galaxy early-stage cultivator who snatched it away from in front of him. He simply was about to blow his top. Damned purple thunder monster, this ancestor absolutely will skin you. Calm down. Ancestor Huai Mu was actually more tranquil than him by far. Although he was extremely furious on the inside as well, compared to Ancestor Heavenly Fire's explosive temper, he had that additional bit of restraint. That purple thunder monster naturally was as incredible as the legends said, and to unexpectedly fool them, even snatching away the golden dragon, this courage and insight, this spirit perhaps could not be matched by anyone else among the Star Masters. What made him feel even more shocked was that the purple thunder monster had signed 2 star generals. We should join hands to first kill this purple thunder monster. Someday, he will be the unknown factor of the star duels. Ancestor Huai Mu said. Ancestor Heavenly Fire held this to be true. His anger difficult to alleviate, he looked to Zhao Heng. The 2 star masters had also been scared stiff by Su Xing's brazen action, daring to seize food from the tiger's den of a supercluster stage cultivator with just his galaxy stage, something only a madman would go do. Since he has 2 star generals, we can settle things after we join hands to first destroy him. Zhao Heng said to Su Feng. This palace shall use the 3-star destined weapon to properly receive Lin Chong. The impatient vanguard Su Chao coldly smiled. Then, the 2 figures sped away, entering the purple cloud. After the purple cloud, it was some other paradise. What appeared in front was an immense, kilometer-wide terrace of purple jade. 9 coiling dragon pillars of crystal were arranged in succession, and in the center of these coiling dragon pillars were 36 earthly fiend grade chests, 18 heavenly spirit grade chests and 9 purple star grade chests stacked layer upon layer, having been heaped into a pyramid. Furthermore, this steel floated above the top of this pyramid, and it sealed a golden book. This was the birth treasure outline. Su Xing promptly flew down towards the platform. Just as he was about to draw near, the coiling dragon pillars' images moved. A fire dragon flew out, imposing and fierce, baring its teeth and claws in an apparently extremely surly manner. With a great dragon roar, its grandeur was not the slightest bit similar to the heaven-tearing gold dragon. Su Xing already knew that the purple star grade birth outline was far from being as simple as the heavenly spirit and earthly fiend. Besides its demon beast escorts, the interior had many layers of forbid dances. Seeing that this 9 dragons divine fire pillar was also a unique magic weapon, his heart was secretly shocked. Just what was the background of this Liangshan maiden? With this style, these 9 dragons divine fire pillars were joined with the star general forbid dance. If these were broken, the outside supercluster cultivators could also enter. Su Xing immediately hesitated no longer, bringing up the clinging fire star domain sword and slashing. Lin Yingmei and Yan Yizhen at this time were about to break this fire dragon pillar. Suddenly, the purple cloud was split open, and an essence light struck at Su Xing. Lin Yingmei blocked it with her spear, immediately cutting down this weapon. It was a shuttle of flickering starlight. This shuttle seemingly was an astral treasure, having not been shattered under the attack of a two-star destined weapon. The shuttle returned to Zhao Heng's hand, and the second prince was stunned as he looked at Lin Yingmei and the others, a two-star destined weapon. Lin Chong. Purple Thunder Monster, in the right situation, you indeed personally appear. This palace truly admires that. The Flight Star Impatient Vanguard Suo Qingshuang held her long axe. Su Feng and Han Qing also arrived shortly beside her. The Earthly Majestic Star raised her spear. Elder sister, what are you waiting for? A figure flashed. The Earthly Majestic Star raised the 100 Wars Bloodthirst Spear and attacked. Su Feng and Zhao Heng also did not dare to be careless, hefting several objects. Astonishingly, all of them were astral tools and such that smashed at Su Xing. The General of 100 Victories Han Qing also stabbed at Su Xing. Although the two were working together, Su Xing's side also had two people, and Lin Yingmei and Yan Yizhen continuously blocked beside their master. Lin Yingmei's Arctic Star Serpent Spear then brushed away the attacking astral tools. The two-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear facing these star tools was destroying these astral tools as easily as paper, and when Su Xing saw this, he did not want to waste any more time. Hastily, he used his abilities to go break the fire dragon pillar. Bang! The Arctic Star Serpent Spear was lowered. Lin Yingmei held it with both hands, her expression slightly grave. The Flight Star Suo Chao's lips curled into a cold smile. Single-handedly brandishing the 100,000 Dragon Flame Axe, the three-star destined weapons might slash downwards. The axe edge's fire dragon burst forth, its sparks burning on Lin Yingmei's face, bringing slight scars. Elder sister, is it good? Suo Qingshuang swept the axe, as if she was sweeping dead leaves. The two-star Arctic Star Spear barely stopped it, directly brushing Lin Yingmei several meters away. If she had not advanced to two-star, this sweep probably would not have been this easy. The General of 100 Victories at this time scuttled to Lin Yingmei's front. This 100 Wars Bloodthirst Spear abruptly flashed, the spear tip changed, giving rise to phantom layers. One stroke violent death. Clang clang. Han Qing was stunned. Such a swift surprise attack surprisingly had been blocked by Lin Yingmei. The Heavenly Majestic Star spun her spear tip even faster, and Han Qing only felt the sight in front of her distort. The Arctic Star Serpent Spear then arrived in front of her, and Han Qing screamed in terror. She hastily brought her spear back and suddenly saw Lin Yingmei's whole body was like a mirage. 10,000 techniques realm, Han Qing yelled in shock. After these words dropped, the spear tip reached her stomach, and the white armor released a white light that protected her. A sound like striking the water's surface broke the air. Han Qing was sent backwards more than a dozen paces, her stomach faintly hurting. The white armor had already been ruptured with a hole. This white armor was known as Armor of Hoarfrost, II, an earthly spirit-grade astral treasure. Surprisingly, punctured by a spear, this frightened Han Qing enough her body was covered in cold sweat. If it was not for this astral treasure, this bout was her loss. Elder sister, play with this palace. Suo Qingshuang shouted, the axe edge very aggressive. More than a dozen fire dragons suddenly appeared, which Lin Yingmei received with her spear. A cold wind swelled out, and the fire dragon instantly swallowed Lin Yingmei's defenses. Suo Qingshuang hastily rushed to attack, her offensive also as violent and fierce as her temperament. The pressure the three-star destined weapon brought upon Lin Yingmei already could make up for the disparity between their martial strength and realms. Meanwhile, the Yan Yizhen on the other side at this time already launched a close-quarters assault on Su Feng and Zhao Heng. The two-star masters had the support of great sects, and to dare come plunder the purple star-grade birth outline with their nebula late stage, they naturally had life-preserving treasures. One of these made willow vines that wrapped around Su Feng. These vine willow jadites were succulent, sparkling and pure, brimming with life, and Yan Yizhen's boxing simply was incapable of shaking it. Zhao Heng's capital was even more ample. His full-body luxurious red robes released hundreds of fire dragons that twisted in the several che around his body and formed an impenetrable defense. Yan Yizhen's boxing wildly danced, continuously striking Su Feng. That willow vine was slowly splitting under the skillful star's barrage of fists. Yan Qing, watch this, generals. The general of 100 Victories Han Tao promptly attacked. The spear was raised, wild and complicated, its cold glint like a suspended galaxy pouring down. She had no certainty confronting the heavenly majestic star. After all, Lin Yingmei was a master of the spear. Likewise, who could be her opponent in spearmanship? While Yan Yizhen's boxing arts were impressive, the general of 100 Victories Han Tao dared to be self-proclaim herself 100 Victories. She naturally had some capital. The two-star 100 Wars Bloodthirst Spear initiated a ferocious attack, like a bloodthirsty lion, a deadly spear. Yan Yizhen's fists moved, violent and swift. One stroke violent death. The general of 100 Victories Han Tao abruptly aimed for her chance, the spear flashing. The so-called one-stroke violent death was a split-second attack used in close quarters that concentrated all power onto a single point on the spear. Its speed and destructive power were increased several factors, and for a two-star destined weapon, this was something that could not be taken lightly. Yan Yizhen's abdomen immediately was punctured with a bloody hole. But a wound like this was not enough to make the maid show it in her eyes. Her vermilion and cold pupils flashed a cold glint, and the skillful star wanderer Yan Qing's palms suddenly turned hot and cold, transitioning into an attack. It was the yin-yang palm. Bang, bang. With the sounds of two heavy strikes, the general of 100 Victories' armor of hoarfrost once again gained two more deep cracks, completely obstructing Yan Yizhen's might. Hey! The general of 100 Victories once more prepared to use one-stroke violent death a fourth time. Yan Yizhen's pace mysteriously changed, and she arrived to her side. With an elbow strike, she sent Han Qing flying, and just as she was about to pursue, a green vine whip stopped the maid's attack. Su Feng raised the astral treasure. That treasure switched from defense to offense, becoming several dozen that wrapped the maid into a bundle. This purple thunder monster is too abnormal. He has the skillful star and the heavenly majestic star, we need to kill him. Su Feng urgently shouted. At this time, he already saw that Su Xing and the coiling dragon divine fire pillars, 3, battle had reached its pivotal moment. Zhao Heng's face was unsightly. He had neither sword chant nor cultivation that could compare to Su Xing's, so how could he go fight? Qingshuang. Immediately, he shouted. Sua Qingshuang's understood tacitly, her eyes flashing a grim expression. Instantly, the 100,000 dragon flame axes feign wind whooshed. Sua Qingshuang raised the long axe, and all of the flames concentrated onto her axe, turning it a shining deep red. The fire dragons of the axe head were innumerable as they violently rolled forth, a type of terrifying pressure pervaded the air towards everyone present. Su Xing knew the moment he saw that she was about to use her yellow rank style. The 3-star destined weapon's yellow rank style was something he could take lightly. 100,000 fire dragons rapid kill. Sua Qingshuang's long axe chopped, the axe edge seemingly releasing millions of majestic fire dragons. When these fire dragons emerged, the entire purple jade platform was suddenly a thorough red. Even the far outer face was a visibly red color. The fire dragons flowed like a flood from a released dam, and their objective, shockingly, was Su Xing, young master. Lin Yingmei became a destructive shadow that rushed towards Su Xing. This 100,000 fire dragons' rapid kill simply did not give Su Xing any chance to evade. Su Xing changed, shouting, "Forget about me." If Lin Yingmei took this blow, that situation approached a crisis. It seemed he could only use the red ink iron certificate. Just at this time, a figure appeared in front of the 100,000 roaring fire dragons. Yan Yizhen's fists of yin and yang increased dramatically, forming a soft taiji symbol. A brilliant splendor obstructed, and the maid's two arms crossed together to block, directly stopping head-on the fire dragon's rapid kill. The three-star destined weapon's power could be this tyrannical. Su Xing only saw Yan Yizhen's whole body set ablaze. Elder sister, slave servant leaves master to you. Yan Yizhen's apathetic voice resounded. Su Xing suddenly felt his head hurt. When the fire dragons disappeared, the skillful star Yan Yizhen had disappeared into thin air. Unexpectedly, she had been struck directly into her contractor's star nest by this 100,000 fire dragon's rapid kill, losing her battle potential. The Extreme Ice Holy Palace with its allied sect, the Blue Wave Palace, currently confronted the heaven-swallowing silver dragon. The Queen Lady of Ice's full-body white long skirt fluttered about with light circling about. This silk dress was structured from the silk that the water drainage heavenly silkworm spat out. Upon it was carved an 8x8, 64-path water drainage talisman, and at this moment, the amulet completely opened. True water condensed into a blade and perfectly complemented her life-cast sword chant, 32 ice spirits and 32 frost souls sword. 2. The 64 ice spirits and frost souls sword became sparkling and translucent water dragons interweaving together. The 100 meters of ground before the Queen Lady of Ice became an extremely large yin-yang symbol, and two yin-yang fishes circled about, seemingly a sparkling and sturdy water screen. It trapped the heaven-swallowing silver dragon inside, utterly vast and utterly good-looking. The heaven-swallowing silver dragon spat a cold light, yet it was incapable of breaking out of the water screen's encirclement. The ice spirit Frost Snow Sword launched deadly strikes from time to time, attacking the helpless heaven-swallowing silver dragon. At this moment, a violent terror suddenly was transmitted over. The Purple Thunder Monster. This Purple Thunder Monster has only naturally come. The Queen Lady of Ice completely lacked expression, her tone ice-cold. We must not fall behind. Two supercluster cultivators raised their hands into a seal, throwing out a jade vase that released a mysterious icy true water. These true waters had a cold chi fitted layer upon layer. When it first appeared, it was as if the world froze. This was the Queen Lady of Ice's most powerful magic weapon, Mysterious Ice Jade Vase. 3. Hidden inside was the chi of true cold, picked and refined from the cold chi of the Arctic Pole Sea's mysterious ice. It lost a bit of itself with each use, was priceless, and the Queen Lady of Ice had not much anything else. When the bottle appeared, it combined with the Ice Spirit Frost Snow Swords, Yin Cold Taiji Sword Array. The other supercluster cultivator similarly activated a magic weapon, and the Ice Chill Sword Chance, 5, of the other disciples continuously attacked. Zhu Sha. Gong Kaiwei said. The leader star resourceful strategist Zhu Sha's hand seals moved, and the 5 elements weather banner became something graceful, with lightning flashes and thunder rolls inside the array. Not only the Extreme Ice Holy Palace, but the Most High Path, the True Immortals Hall, the Lifeless Hall and all the other great sects were no different. Those that remained to plunder the Purple Star birth outline naturally would have star masters, otherwise, how would they willingly take these risks? More than a dozen large schools accelerated their assault, and the 4 great firmament's dragons were killed like arrows at the end of their path. The bright lights above the White Deer Highlands grew without restraint, with wisps of red clouds in the thousands. Inside the forest several dozen li around the White Deer Highlands, many cultivators at this time spied on the sects that were pillaging the 5 Dragons Protection Palace at the White Deer Highlands. Seeing the ancient 9th-rank demon dragons killed one by one at the hands of the great sects, they were green with envy, but they did not dare lend support. And at a corner of the forest, Wu Xinjie, Shi Yuan and Ensuan were currently nervously looking forth when Wu Xinjie suddenly sunk. She, too, sensed that Yan Yizhen had been struck into the star nest. The Purple Thunder Monster, what? It is only natural that the Purple Thunder Monster would come to plunder. Just which sect is he from? A devil cult from the Black Turtle territory? At this time, the cultivators spectating the battle one by one discussed in amazement, as they had also seen the purple thunder monster steal the heaven-tearing gold dragon. They spoke in admiration and in jealousy. The purple thunder monster already was being monitored by each of the larger schools, and unexpectedly daring to show himself, he is dead for certain this time. He must really be dreaming if he thinks he can steal the birth outline from under the encirclement of more than a dozen sections. Hard to say. Hearing the discussions of these cultivators, Wu Xinjie's expression was also unsightly. What do we do? Sister Xinjie, shall we go help Big Brother? And Suan asked. To expose that Su Xing had contracted more than 2-star generals right now perhaps would be in even bigger trouble, but just at this moment, all of a sudden, Wu Xinjie cast a glance towards the sky and showed an unusual expression. Why has she come? Speaking of what was happening inside the Purple Jade Palace, Yan Yizhen staked all of her strength to block the insufferably arrogant 3-star destined weapon's killing blow, which made the impatient vanguard Sua Chao greatly startled. The Heavenly Star herself used the yellow rank style solely in order to stake everything on one blow. Especially with a 3-star destined weapon combined with a master at only Nebula late stage, such use meant her star energy would be left greatly depleted. While Sua Qingshuang felt great surprise, she abruptly felt the previously burning temperature before her suddenly drop. Cold chi shot in every direction, and ice formed in the air. This is bad. When everyone noticed, they saw a purple lightning net trap them. Su Xing at this time dodged away, first avoiding the fire dragon pillar. Then, blooming water divine thunder burst forth from his fingers, becoming a dragon claw. The purple thunder dragon claw flew, grabbing Zhao Heng, Su Feng, Sua Chao and Han Tao. The pretty and cold heart had a mutual connection. Lin Yingmei's Arctic Star Serpent Spear, its tip speckled with snow, its cold light hidden and visible gave rise to countless phantoms of herself. The General of 100 Victories Han Tao raised her spear in astonishment to block it. She broke one of the Lin Yingmei phantoms and immediately saw the Arctic Spear attack before her eyes. The first spear was only North Wind Blows, 6, the second spear was Sudden First Snowfall, 7, and the third spear, Union of Wind and Snow. 8, Han Tao was startled. The 100 Wars Bloodthirst Spear put up a spear array, bang, 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 the 2-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear broke the array as if it was paper. The armor of Hoarfrost had been shattered by the sharp tip of the spear. The earthly fiend's utmost astral treasure unexpectedly could not block it, and having lost the astral treasure's protection, the General of 100 Victories could even be said to be a wide open door. Before she could react, a cold wind poured into her body, and her 4 limbs were ice-cold to the bone. Young master, flee, quickly! Han Qing shouted loudly. Her black robes and white armor were immediately destroyed by the blizzard. The wind and snow spear technique went from slow to fast, from diluted to dense in no longer than the blink of an eye. The earthly majestic star General of 100 Victories was then dispatched, and by the time she finished speaking, Lin Yingmei's blizzard already enveloped the other 3. Su Feng at this time committed his biggest mistake by using his jadeite vine whip to attack. Under the 2-star destined weapon's long blizzard nights, the attacking vine were frozen into splinters and shattered by the icy wind afterwards. Su Feng almost did not react. Suddenly, he felt his body lose its weight. He screamed, unexpectedly directly killed by the cold wind on Lin Yingmei's spear. A crimson-colored star fell in anguish. The ranked 42nd earthly majestic star then died just like that. The flight star impatient vanguard Sua Chao also was in a cold sweat of fear. The long axe's flames burned, but how could she have any leeway after using 100,000 Fire Dragon's rapid kill? Furthermore, Lin Yingmei's long blizzard night's true killing move was approaching her now. The spear's power could not be resisted, and Sua Chao could only raise her long axe to go block it. Her 3-star destined weapon was just as valiant, and Sua Qingshuang was haughtily motionless, like a boulder, tightly suppressing Lin Yingmei's spear technique. Because Zhao Heng had the fire dragon robe protecting him, he was more fortunate than Suo Feng, escaping disaster by pure fluke. Although the protective fire dragon robe had been ravaged by the blizzard, it could count as a tire that blocked the storm. But Zhao Heng did not yet rejoice, for suddenly, he saw at this moment the broken sky made a noise. A rose-colored seal came whooshing towards him. The fire dragon went to block it, but unexpectedly, it was smashed directly through. Zhao Heng's expression changed, and he raised the astral treasure, Flying Star Shuttle. 9. It collided with the seal with an enormous noise, finally sending this terrifying seal back. Su Xing put away the mountain-breaking engraving and thought, what a pity. Otherwise, he would have then killed this 3-star destined weapon Zhao Heng. Suo Chao immediately retreated, positioning herself in front of her master. Lin Yingmei all of a sudden rushed forward, preparing to take advantage of this to kill 2 people. Su Xing also reacted instantly, unleashing a bolt of divine thunder. Zhao Heng's expression hovered uncertainly between grim and calm. His divine intent latched onto the heavenly spirit grade already with a sense of hesitance. For him to confront the legendary purple thunder monster alone, that was a bit too groundless. Young master. Suo Qingshuang's 100,000 fire dragons axe continued to be wrapped with waiting fire dragons, but Zhao Heng already was slightly unable to support a second 3-star attack. His star energy was weak, and the fire dragons protecting him were even more conspicuously feeble. Return, we leave. Zhao Heng grit his teeth. Looking at that purple star-grade chest, his heart severely ached, but he turned and dodged into the purple clouds with a rush. Just at this moment, several streaks of jade light mixed with flame and rushed at him all of a sudden. Zhao Heng was alarmed, and his fire dragon broke. His body suffered a green light, causing him to vomit a mouthful of blood. Just as the Suo Qingshuang handling Lin Yingmei shouted, another streak of green light approached, astonishingly not giving Zhao Heng the chance to leave the purple cloud. Zhao Heng could only helplessly sacrifice the heavenly spirit jade pendant, which cracked. Immediately, it turned into a smoke cloud that dispersed on the purple jade platform. The impatient vanguard Suo Chao's figure similarly transformed when she saw this, fleeing along with him. Before Su Xing could see clearly just what was going on. Young master, look out! Lin Yingmei suddenly dodged, raising her spear. Clang, clang, clang. Several green lights smashed with a crisp sound onto Lin Yingmei's spear shaft, the power of them surprisingly overwhelming, making the webbing of Lin Yingmei's fingers to tear. Her pace was unsteady, being in a precarious situation after having just used long blizzard nights. That randomly appearing and disappearing jadeite light again pounded Lin Yingmei's shoulders, her wrists, nearly knocking away her weapon. When Su Xing saw this, he swiftly scuttled to her front. The clinging fire star domain sword unleashed a great swathe of clinging fire. But this jadeite light unexpectedly pierced through the clinging fire, and Su Xing only avoided this by using the Bagua escape technique. However, that jadeite light was like a demon that followed him everywhere. Su Xing opened his mouth, only stopping it with a dozen rock-piercing water droplets. Lin Yingmei already recovered from her yellow rank style, and her eyes flashed a coldness. She suddenly leapt, hacking at empty space. The spear's wind tore. She broke several green lights, and a figure was forced out. Seeing that young girl, Su Xing and Lin Yingmei both felt stunned and sunk. That young girl was pretty as a flower, her expression Sundara. She wore a green palace dress and had eyes green as jade. She was the girl who they briefly saw when they encountered Yan Wudao. Yan Wudao's star general. What made Su Xing sink was that this young girl floated in the air. Her hands opened, and under each of those fair palms of hers were suspended 3 pieces of rhomboid jade. These jade stones were bright, sparkling brilliant and pure beyond compare. There vaguely was a jade fire raised on this girl's palm that continuously revolved, very stunning. Asking directions to the underworld stone. 10. Su Xing's brow wrinkled. The girl before them was the ranked 16th Agile Star, Featherless Arrow, Zhang Qing. 11. The lifeless hall honestly would not let go of any opportunities. A woman's cold voice appeared. The newcomer was a pretty girl. However, this is also fine. Zhao Heng's star general is surprisingly 3-star, so not dying is somewhat regretful. Is it not, princess? The Princess Ling Yan 100 meters away did not say anything. However, this Lin Chong is truly incredible. 2 against 1, and she still could kill one of them. The girl said. Her robes were of the blue wave palaces. Yan Wudao calmly appeared beside Zhang Qing, pensively staring at Su Xing. At this time, the purple clouds dispersed, and Su Xing's heart sunk, for he heard the dragon roars outside that did not stop. Another 6 or 7 silhouettes appeared one after another in the 1,000 meters of the purple jade platform. Although they each were separated by an extreme distance, each pair of eyes were fixed on Su Xing's shock, complexity, and indifference could be found everywhere. These men and women each had flickering star crests on their foreheads and a maiden of outstanding beauty standing guard to the side. Astonishingly, they were the more than 10 star masters from all of the great sects who had come to plunder the purple star grade birth outline. Purple Thunder Monster, today is the time you and Lin Chong die. They heard a haughty voice shout. Yan Wudao picked up the 100 Wars Bloodthirst Spear. He looked at Su Xing, whose appearance had greatly changed. Thus, Yan Wudao did not recognize him. He did not recognize Lin Chong either, for he did not remember her face well from their original encounter. However, her temperament eventually gave Yan Wudao somewhat of a déjà vu. The complacent woman sneered. The young girl next to her wore a tiger pelt brocade, showing an expanse of white with tiger stripes. At this time, her star weapon was not concealed. In her hand was a tiger-head broadsword, named the Dark-Hilt Tiger Demon Saber. She was the ranked 78th flowery-necked Tiger Gong Wang. Su Xing stealthily sized up the present 8-star masters. The 10 great sects had 4 while the other small schools also had 4, the Most High Paths Xiezhen Yuan, the True Immortals Halls Xiao Han Yan, the Lifeless Halls Yan Wudao, the Heavenly Ice Holy Palaces Gong Kai Wei. The other small schools were denominated as the Blue Waves Palace, the Heavenly River Sword School, the Divine Wood Valley, 2, and Transforming Life Door. 3. Su Xing had seen the Star Master of the Heavenly River Sword School at Bian City. He seemed to be called Li Xianyan. Looking at the young girl by his side, she wore a red silk long skirt, had a red flower inserted into her black hair that was bound into a cloud bun. Her expression was cold and detached. Her white fingers were even clutching a single saffron. That flower was odd, for it was redder than blood, brighter than jade, and each flower petal seemingly had blood marks, which was extremely frightening. The blood-marked lethal flower. 5. It was the earthly harm star stalk of flower Kai Qing. 6. Even if Su Xing was any more self-confident, it was impossible for one person to confront 8-star masters and 8-star generals. Furthermore, he had not come to plunder the purple star birth outline just for this. I definitely do not have any interest in fighting with you. Su Xing chuckled. He formed Blooming Water Divine Thunder, striking the original Fire Dragon Pillar. With this, the Fire Dragon Pillar was an extinguished fire dragon, and the pillar crumbled. Immediately, one of the 9 dragons' divine fire pillars broke. Su Xing scuttled away to enter. That forbid dance would be removed once all of the 9 dragons' divine fire pillars broke. At that time, the covetous supercluster stages outside would go crazy, especially the ancestor Huai Mu of the Tai Sword sect that originally could calmly persuade ancestor Heavenly Fire to calm down. To now see the Su Feng they had cultivated with the utmost care unexpectedly fall, he would be angry enough to stamp in fury. From the verbal abuse breaking in from outside, among the words were that he would grind Su Xing's bones and scatter the ashes. Although Zhao Heng escaped with somewhat of a sorry figure, overall, he could be considered not as done for, unlike his counterpart. And where do you think you can run to? The 6 asking directions to the underworld stones in the agile star featherless arrow Zhang Biluo's hands shot out. These jadeite stones indistinctly entered the air, disappearing before their eyes. When they appeared, they were right on top of them, attacking. The speed simply was transient, swift beyond reason. Lin Yingmei swept away too while the other 4 stones unpredictably disappeared and reappeared, penetrating Lin Yingmei's defenses and hitting several places on Su Xing's shoulders. His bones were pounded to the breaking point. This agile star's concealed weapon was frightening, as expected. Su Xing bore with the blood in his throat, and flicking his fingers, 10 bolts of purple thunder then burst forth. The flowery-necked tiger grabbed the dark-hilt tiger demon saber and leapt to cleave the divine thunder. "I will have to offend you here," Yan Wudao calmly said, raising a sword chant as he also attacked. "Yingmei, let's leave." Su Xing and Lin Yingmei immediately entered the second layer within the forbid dance, rushing to grab the birth outline's treasure outline. That pyramid surroundings suddenly unfolded a barrier, stopping Su Xing from taking another step forward. Su Xing silently cursed. Unexpectedly, there was another barrier. A figure flit by. Bang, bang, bang. The asking directions to the underworld stones pounded on the barrier. Yan Wudao and the others rushed in. "Princess." Dong Junqing wished she could wickedly kill Su Xing, kill and defile him, but without the princess orders, she could only stifle her foul resentment within her own heart. Princess Ling Yan Zhao Hanyan's brows wrinkled. With the 1,000-year contract she had with Su Xing, if something happened to Su Xing, she also would have no fruit to eat. However, for her to rashly act out was absolutely impossible. That was equivalent to becoming enemies with all of the other sections. 7. In Zhao Hanyan's heart, this Su Xing truly does not want to live. Seeing the other star masters all rush onto the purple jade platform, Princess Ling Yan also did not dare to be neglectful. For the immediate moment, fighting over the chests was more urgent. "Fellows, are we still not joining hands to get rid of the purple thunder monster? This person is but a great danger. Just now, you all saw that he indeed killed the Tai Sword sect's Su Feng and defeated Zhao Heng." The Blue Wave Palace's female cultivator persistently fanned the flames, her tongue bursting with flowers. "This monster has even obtained the devil-suppressing stone steel and the ghost's god's bane. If we kill him, how about we divide credit evenly?" Her words aroused a glint in the eyes of the others. Looking at that astral treasure sword, the good items he had must not be few. "Kill me." "This young master has the jade pendant on his person, so can you kill me?" Su Xing chuckled, "You all better take it a bit easier. Should the chest be stolen by someone, it cannot be transferred away." The other restless cultivators took a moment to calm down. The panther had Lin Chang's 2-star destined weapon and a contractor at Galaxy early stage. They truly did not have confidence that they could kill the purple thunder monster, particularly when Zhao Heng and Su Fan already were the best proof of that. The only ones who could confront the purple thunder monster was perhaps Xie Zhenyuan, Yan Wudao and Zhao Hanyan. Regardless of cultivation, star generals needed to be higher ranked, so much so that the strongest sword chant was also needed. Thereupon, they placed all of their gazes on themselves. Xie Zhenyuan was somewhat odd. Among the star masters, he was the only one who had not brought his star general, and it was unknown if he was being too self-confident. "Brother Wudao, Princess Ling Yan. This monster is a disaster. I believe we should kill him first, then worry about this chest." "Right. If we kill this monster, this chest is but an item in our bags. We cannot let the monster snatch away these treasures." The Blue Wave Palace's female cultivator blurted. Yan Wudao wrinkled his brow, then nodded. "This Princess Star General is one of the 5 Tiger Generals. We have no interest in playing this game of many cheating against one with any of you. If you want to kill, then kill. This palace wants to seize the chest, Junqing." Zhao Hanyan shot a glance at Su Xing, who already thoroughly understood the meaning in her expression. This princess is being extremely benevolent. Whether you will die or live is something you have to figure out yourself. The steadfast star Dong Junqing was somewhat displeased, but there was no helping it. Raising the dragon and phoenix yin yang spear, she then went to break the true dragon barrier. Along with her was an additional cold young girl. She was the immortal hero princess, Gong Kaiwei. The other 6 people looked at each other in dismay. How did they not expect that these two, in their capacity as royals, would unexpectedly pay them no heed? Even Zhao Hanyan felt surprised. Since when was Gong Kaiwei this kind? Since Princess Ling Yan feels it beneath her, leave this purple thunder monster to me, then. This will not take much time. Xia Zhenyuan gestured with his hand, and 12 emerald green flying swords appeared with a dazzle. This was his supreme grade sword chant, Most High Jade Clarity Sword. 8. The moment he acted, the other people suddenly froze. They stared at Xia Zhenyuan's expression very strangely. Su Xing raised the blooming water divine thunder. The Most High Jade Clarity Sword became a mysterious sword array that was split into 3 paths from top to bottom. In an instant, they shot over. Su Xing using the blooming water divine thunder had changed the situation, and for absolute certainty, Xia Zhenyuan also formed a hand seal. The 3 swords merged, a cyan light shot in all directions, and it broke through the blooming water divine thunder. Lin Yingmei stepped forward to block it, but the featherless arrows randomly appearing asking directions to the underworld stone made the majestic star continuously ward them off. Su Xing was forced away by the flying sword. He fell behind Gong Kaiwei, and the Most High Clarity Sword shot over with a whoosh to attack. In a split second, without any indication, Gong Kaiwei turned around, lifting the tracing snow sword to stab at Su Xing. The corners of her skirt fluttered, and the girl's figure appeared before his eyes. When Xie Zhenyuan saw, he forcibly halted his sword chant. Gong Kaiwei was from the Heavenly Ice Holy Palace, so it was not good to accidentally injure her at this phase. At the same time, it was very odd this immortal hero princess would make a move at this critical juncture. Su Xing was also stunned by Gong Kaiwei's attack. He easily raised the clinging fire star domain sword to block Gong Kaiwei's thrust with one of his own. Only when the sword completely lacked killing intent did he realize the girl did this deliberately. She coldly said in a quiet voice, "You still are not going to quickly take Lin Chong and escape?" Gong Kaiwei flicked the sword into a cold light pierces snow. Su Xing already was familiar with her sword path at the general's mausoleum, and he very easily dispelled it. That can wait until I obtain the treasure outline. The virgin maiden's fragrance was titillating, yet Gong Kaiwei's sword style was swift and fierce. Are you truly not afraid of dying? Afraid? How can I not be afraid, but right now, I cannot die. Su Xing thought as he sized up the other star masters. The twos, you come and I go, exchange of blows stunned the other watching star masters. Although they knew the immortal hero princess sword style was exceptional, they did not imagine that it unexpectedly was unable to take down the purple thunder monster. Humph. Then you can just prepare to die. Gong Kaiwei said coldly. Look out. Suddenly, Su Xing pushed her away without any warning, and a ray of cold light passed between the two. The multicolored light scattered in empty space. Gong Kaiwei's expression shifted. The 5 elements weather banner surrounded and formed an array around her body, blocking the multicolored light. A figure of purple smoke leisurely approached for an attack. When Princess Ling Yan saw that battle between the two was almost flirtatious, her heart was slightly resentful. Her sword art severed the connection between the two people. Then, her white hand gestured, and her figure flashed to the front of Su Xing. Su Xing, are you very carefree? Long time no see. Su Xing formed a blooming water divine thunder, not daring to release killing intent. Yes. You do not flee, and you unexpectedly even have the carefree mood to flirt with the immortal hero princess. How amazing. Zhao Hanyan withdrew. The moment just now when he pushed Gong Kaiwei aside had been seen by Zhao Hanyan. Princess Ling Yan, what is the meaning of this? The others did not understand. If Zhao Hanyan used the powerful 72 outer void sword she had, that was a major killing move. The purple thunder monster has the ghost's god's bane. This palace naturally needs him alive in order to know the whereabouts of this ghost's god's bane. Zhao Hanyan said with an unmoved tone. I see that as unnecessary. Yen Wudao calmly said. His sword chant simultaneously manifested, a black light thoroughly serene, like ink, like a deep pool. Several dozen coldly glinting flying swords flew over to stab at Su Xing. One side was ink concentrated as the dark, and the other was a warm green with the breath of life. There was also slender and twisting lightning on the sword, releasing a crackling noise. Although the other cultivators could not use sword chants, the Blue Wave Palace woman raised her hand which hoisted a command banner interwoven into a great array that circled around above. Inside the great array were raging flames, burning downwards towards them. The two great galaxy late-stage star masters acted out, so what leeway did Su Xing have? Zhao Hanyan wrinkled her brow, already thinking she had no choice but to make a move of her own. She fixed her gaze on Su Xing, only to suddenly discover the man before her was still that calm and collected, the corner of his mouth even curling into a smile. Facing this many star masters encircling him for a kill, yet he was this undisturbed. Had he gone mad? Zhao Hanyan immediately received her reply. Su Xing threw out a talisman that stuck onto the true dragon barrier. With a bang. With a sound as if the air had been ripped apart, Zhao Hanyan turned her head to look. The third true dragon barrier already was suddenly collapsing, and immediately, the heavenly spirit, earthly fiend, and purple star chests all were exposed. Instantly, the other small school cultivators revealed greedy expressions, frantically pouncing for the chests, their interest in the purple thunder monster lost. Their fear was that others would steal a march on them. Those cultivators that had come to plunder the purple star grade birth outline naturally were here for the treasure chest. Seeing the treasure chest revealed behind the disappearing forbid dance, how could they have the slightest bit of hesitance? The star masters of these small schools were very clear. If the time to fight over the chest truly came, where would there be a chance for them? Xie Zhenyuan and Yen Wudao were also stunned. Watching them rush to squabble over the chests, they were unable to kill Su Xing. These treasure chests were not that difficult. Earthly fiend chests were fine, and the heavenly spirit grade chests needed to waste several seconds imbuing it with divine intent. The purple star grade was even more complicated, and that birth treasure outline was just like it needed to be refined once again in order to appear. If it was not for this reason, Su Xing would have already used the territory-breaking talisman before entering the forbid dance to take everything away. The Divine Wood Valley's cultivator rolled away 2 earthly fiend chests, 1 heavenly spirit chest, and was about to move his hand towards a purple star chest when, at this time, a green light smashed straight through his palm. He screamed and fell over. Young master! His star general was the wild star Kong Ming, too, and she swept away several green stones with the wind-hacking thunderclap hammer, 3, in her hand. But an even more powerful darkness sword chant shrouded the space above her head. Kong Ming rolled the wing-hacking thunderclap hammer, and her yellow rank style broke these black sword arrays, but 6 translucent green lights flashed in front of her. The girl screamed, and had been sent straight into the star nest after being penetrated. The agile star featherless arrow Zhang Qing's asking for directions to the underworld stone randomly disappeared and reappeared, and it was already refined to 2-star. Seer. The male cultivator saw this, and he loudly shouted, baring his teeth wide-eyed at Yen Wudao. Yen Wudao swept with his sword chant, and when the male cultivator saw this, he hastily activated the jade pendant. Yen Wudao did not have the intention to kill him at all. The several dozen sword chants stopped those cultivators. Originally, he had wanted to deter the scene before him, but suddenly seeing Xie Zhenyuan fly towards the chests, he knew at this time, saying anything more was useless. Zhao Hanyan was secretly shocked by Su Xing's method, but she did not fall behind. Thereupon, a group of people developed into a war fighting over the chests. Artifacts, multicolored lights, back and forth, looking at this time, each minded their own business. White deer highlands, upon a white tiger suspended in the air. Upon the tiger sat two exceptionally beautiful girls. They were Wusong and Shower. The 5 great firmament dragons already were all dead, and seeing the center of dense purple clouds already roll with bright lights, a look told of the final juncture. We came late. Shower said. Lin Chang's master is already there. Wusong coldly said. She had heard the discussions of the others. Little sister Wusong, you won't really kill him, will you? Shower smiled. The chilly killing intent of Wusong's eyes already told of everything clearly. The white and black unicorn tiger became a streak of white light, immediately rushing in. Outside the purple cloud, the great sect's ancestral master grade characters all were somewhat unsightly. Due to the purple cloud's envelopment and the forbid dance sealing them, they simply could not enter. The supercluster stage great cultivators also did not want to willingly sit and wait, joining hands to fully use each of their powers to break this forbid dance. Headmaster, do you want your servant to? Bing Qingxian, 5, said to Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal. You shall not go. Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal used sound transmission. Instantly, a white light rushed past them, and the great cultivators looked at each other in dismay. Wusong, meanwhile, the earthly fiend chests inside the purple jade platform very quickly were taken away with nothing left. The heavenly spirit chests were also heavily depleted, but the purple star grades were the hardest to settle. These purple star grade chests adhered to souls. In case someone approached, it would transform into every sort of ancient form. There were devil heavenly dragons, heaven overturning fire dragons, etc. Each purple star grade additionally had one, so to take this chest first required killing these soul demon beasts. This was the 4th forbid dance. Presently, there were 8 cultivators present, and the cultivators each took one of the 9 purple star grade chests. Everyone exhausted everything they could to break the forbid dance of the purple star chest. With this, they could even take another purple star grade chest. The atmosphere, for a time, was extremely odd. Boom! 2 of the 9 dragons' divine fire pillars suddenly were destroyed, and the purple jade platform shook for a time. Su Xing's heart sunk, for he knew the great cultivators outside were using magic to break the forbid dance. With their cultivation, breaking this 9-dragon divine fire pillar forbid dance perhaps was not a problem. Should they enter, the escape route Su Xing could use was limited to 1. Even if he was not the purple thunder monster, just the star masters outside of these allied sects would invite the misfortune of killing people. These fire dragons were incredible. Their battles forced Su Xing and Lin Yingmei to be somewhat exhausted, and judging from the true fire greatly swelling, from the raging flames becoming threads, to make them dissolved required some skill. Su Xing raised the mountain-breaking engraving, which smashed its way over. Immediately after, he fully used the blooming water divine thunder without stopping. The thunder boomed, and Lin Yingmei's Arctic Star Serpent Spear also continuously cleaved with its cold winds. Just at this moment, the Heavenly River Sword School, the Blue Wave Palace, and the Transforming Life Door's 3 Star Masters turned their eyes and suddenly launched into a close-quarters attack. The flowery-necked Tiger Gong Wang's Dark-Hilt Tiger Devil Saber, the stalk of flower Kai Qing's blood-marked Lethal Flower and the knife-wielding demon Chao Zhang's skilled Butcher's Ox Dismembering Saber, 6, each attacked Su Xing. The 3 Star Masters completely understood tacitly, each standing by with already full power artifacts and abilities. The circumstances were extremely shocking, which made Gong Kai Wei and the rest surprised. These sect disciples and the rest could not compare in cultivation with the 5 that had already entered Galaxy stage. If they wanted to forcibly break the purple star grade birth outline, that was far from keeping up with them. Therefore, they shifted their attention. Seizing the time that Su Xing and Lin Chong were battling the fire dragon, it would be better to kill this legendary purple thunder monster, and capturing his magic weapon could come after. Seeing as how his reputation was so illustrious, clearly, the items he had with him were unknown levels better than this chest. Su Xing released his divine intent, having already guarded against this. The Molten Halo and Devil's Sealing Sword artifacts immediately flew out, rushing at the G-Star knife-wielding demon Chao Zheng, 7, and the victorious star flowery-necked tiger Gong Wang. 8. These artifacts naturally were incapable of trapping these fiend stars, and Gong Wang's dark-hilt tiger devil saber cleaved open the Molten Halo. The Devil's Sealing Sword was actually incapable of being launched away, but the Star General's star weapon broke the sword's shadows with random swings. However, this gave Lin Yingmei time. With spear in hand, she seized the opportunity to counterattack, cutting down the artifacts and flying swords that soared over. Hey! The young girl in red silk coldly grunted, forming a hand seal. The blood-marked lethal flower fell between Lin Yingmei and Su Xing, suddenly erupting a blood-colored sword light. This was the star magic of the earthly harm star stalk of flower Kai Qing. 9. Su Xing and Lin Yingmei could only helplessly retreat to avoid this keen blood light. Raising both hands, the blooming water divine thunder became a massive python that pounced, its lightning erupting. Lin Yingmei's figure faded, her shadows continuous, as her spear technique immediately invaded the middle of the Star Generals. The knife-wielding demon and flowery-necked tiger cut at Lin Yingmei with their long sabers. Their star weapons were all two-star, and this slash made Lin Yingmei feel slight pressure. Su Xing disappeared with an escape technique. His hand clutching the clinging fire star domain sword, he attacked them. The 3 star masters were already on their guard, and Li Xianyan was even more of a formidable character among them. Activating his heavenly river sword chant, seemingly countless true waters moved to attack Su Xing. Then, he opened his mouth, spitting out several dozen rock-piercing water droplets. The other 2 star masters also each used their seals and powers. When Su Xing saw this, he hastily moved backwards, raising the blood rain pot. A red blood light scattered across the entire sky. The blood rain pot. Li Xianyan recognized this artifact. He promptly waved his hand, and the sky-filling blood light shot down with thuds, turning into raindrops. The Nebula late-stage Star Master's expressions chilled. Yunjin. 10. Li Xianyan immediately yelled. His Star General Kai Yunjin instantly activated her star magic, and a blood-marked lethal flower suddenly rose. Its circulating blood light unexpectedly absorbed the blood rain. Su Xing was stunned, and flicking his fingers, a lightning net flew over. Yan Wudao narrowed his eyes. The Lin Yingmei that happened to be dueling 2 star generals suddenly felt wind pour into her ear. Glancing, she saw a concealed weapon attacking her. Her shadow faded, dodging 3 concealed weapons, but another 3 shot over from an odd angle, just managing to hit Lin Yingmei. When the G-Star and the Victorious Star saw the girl expose an opening, their sabers directly attacked. Lin Yingmei's 10,000 techniques realms afterimages were continuous, and she broke away from the 2's slashes. Bang! Lin Yingmei was somewhat enraged at Zhang Qing's asking for directions to the underworld stones. Suddenly, she noticed Yan Wudao and Xie Zhenyuan already had obtained a purple star chest. They each looked each other in the eye and understood tacitly what to do, activating their life-cast sword chants at Su Xing, young master. Lin Yingmei wanted to protect him. With a cold laugh, Zhang Biluo opened her hands, and the 6 asking directions to the underworld stones disappeared. They banged towards Lin Yingmei. Several dozen flying swords attacked Su Xing head-on, and he thought to himself, these large schools are each cunning as a fox. Unexpectedly waiting for a chance to join hands, at that moment he hesitated to bring out his final trump cards, the Ghost's God's Bane or the Blaze refining 9 Hell's Saber. He suddenly saw 2 silhouettes fly at him, which secretly shocked him. The flying swords were then blocked. Yan Wudao and Xie Zhenyuan were stunned. What are you two doing? Gong Kaiwei and Zhao Hanyan widened and narrowed their eyes, simultaneously shouting, "Why did you save him?" The two girls were taken aback, each looking at the opposite in shock. Su Xing was also speechless, but currently, why would he concern himself with this? His hands fiercely exerted strength, releasing divine thunder. Just what sort of relationship do you have with this purple thunder monster? Xie Zhenyuan yelled. You cannot kill him. If he dies, what would Father Emperor do if he cannot obtain the ghost's god's bane? Though Zhao Hanyan's words were righteous, Su Xing admired how she actually lied through her teeth. Yan Wudao and Xie Zhenyuan actually also knew that Emperor Liang attached great importance to this unique devil weapon. It was not easy to act out against Zhao Hanyan when she looked so suspect. Kai Wei, why did you save him just now? Zhao Hanyan sneered. Gong Kai Wei was indifferent, with an attitude that disdained to reply. Little sister Kai Wei, we have not sparred in a long time. Since this birth outline can have only one person anyways, today, we shall compare our strengths here. Princess Ling Yan said as she raised her sword chant. Dong Junqing was already impatient, raising her dragon and phoenix yin-yang double spear to attack Zhu Sha. Gong Caiwei's life-cast sword chant attacked at the same time. The leader star resourceful strategist Zhu Sha's 5 elements weather banner transformed into 10,000 li, spreading out to form an array, and the two women unexpectedly began fighting. Yan Wudao and Xie Zhenyuan looked on dumbstruck. Su Xing thought, what the hell are you two doing at such a time? The clinging fire domain sword hacked out clinging fire, and exerting the mountain-breaking engraving, he swept towards a chest. Originally, the nearly disastrous fire dragons had been smashed through by the mountain-breaking engraving. Now, how could Su Xing be carefree when the fifth had taken away a purple star chest? For now, we first kill Lin Chong. Xie Zhenyuan's brows wrinkled. The most high-clarity sword's cyan light scattered. Just at this time, the purple cloud turned over, and another dragon pillar collapsed. At this time, 2 maidens suddenly entered from the purple cloud. Who dares kill Lin Chong? The girl with water-like long hair icily said. She was Wu Song. Co. 11. The Lin Yingmei that struck back 2 star generals saw that girl, and she could not help but cry out in surprise. Wu Xiao. Hearing Lin Yingmei's words, Su Xing's brows rose. This name actually quite suited her when matched with that icy temperament. The Harm Star's appearance was far outside the expectations of these sect star masters. Each head froze, and Zhao Hanyan and Gong Caiwei's duel also could not help but pause. Because Su Xing heard that Shower had come to snatch a chest away, he greatly calmed. He was only quite surprised at the daring these two had. Outside the purple jade platform were an additional dozen supercluster cultivators, so how did she go about handling them? Wu Song's gaze swept around, finally landing on Lin Yingmei and Su Xing. Lin Yingmei raised her spear, subconsciously guarding in front of Su Xing. Yingmei, that man is worth your protection. Wu Xiao spoke. A faithful life pledge. Lin Yingmei's tone was decisive. All of the star masters and star generals were stunned. Each was somewhat shocked that legendary Panther Head would be this resolute. The atmosphere was extremely calm for a time. A stifling calm. Wu Xiao and Lin Yingmei stared face to face, a sort of soundless contest. Boom! The 5th divine fire pillar collapsed. Little sister Wu Song, bringing trouble to Lin Chang's master, can wait until after this. Shower said, alarmed. Her 2 hands formed a seal, and the star crest on her forehead flashed. A golden light struck the birth treasure outline, and that complex star of hers immediately appeared on the steel. Shower wanted to refine this birth treasure outline, and this also was the purple star grade birth outline's final forbid dance. How could Yan Wudao, Xie Zhenyuan and the rest be so willing when they saw this? Wu Song, do not be so impudent. The two raised their sword chants, transforming into a sun cross. Power that could overturn mountains and rivers attacked Shower. Even Gong Kaiwei and Zhao Hanyan did not dare be neglectful, each using artifacts and sword chant to join the fray. The group originally unable to ally together to confront the purple thunder monster instantly joined hands with perfect coordination because of Wu Song's appearance. Su Xing chuckled, for he had been waiting for this precise moment. To make Su Xing alone plunder the birth outline with the 10 great sets, even if he did not have any faith, he knew Shower and Wu Song would appear. Su Xing had already settled on this idea of making Wu Song into a shield. After all, the hegemon of the previous generation's Maiden Mountain was even more infamous in every way compared to his purple thunder monster. No matter what, those large schools would seemingly overlook large enemies, and this time, they had a chance to go obtain the birth outline. Soaring high into the air, they formed hand seals as they were suspended on their flying swords, launching a star crest that fought against Shower. The white and black unicorn tiger's roar was jolting. Its tiger claw shot a streak of white light, and these white lights turned into thin blades that battled the flying swords. The sword chants of the four were also formidable, but this star beast was a Star World spirit beast, a Star General's guardian mount. The Galaxy Stage sword chants briefly stopped the light. The other Star Masters launched attacks, unwilling to let Su Xing and Shower seize the steel. The killing moves of each of the Star Generals was used to their utmost. The featherless arrow Zhang Qing's 2 palms moved, and the 6 asking directions to the underworld stones shot over. They saw the pilgrim's figure lean, and the asking directions to the underworld stones were scattered, stunning Zhang Qing. The frosty as ink double-headed sword was already on the approach. Zhang Biluo's concealed weapon was excellent, but in terms of close combat, how could she be Wu Song's opponent? Zhang Biluo crossed her arms, and Yan Wudao recalled his sword chant. The black flying sword became a barrier that slowed Wu Song. Wu Xiao's noble frost demonic lotus broke it. The sword chi bit everywhere wildly, the attack leaving Zhang Qing battered and bruised. You are rather inattentive of elder sister. Dong Junqing coldly grinned, raising her double spears as she leapt over. Among all the Star Generals present, the steadfast star was a formidable character. The dragon and phoenix yin yang became a rainbow. Clang, clang, before it came close, an Arctic star serpent spear blocked in front of her, and it was Lin Yingmei who acted. Move aside. The double spears suddenly swept. Clang, clang. Lin Yingmei stabbed straight, the speartip's strength like a wisp of snow. Dong Junqing was forced backwards blocking it. How could Zhao Hanyan be willing to continue fighting when she saw Su Xing and that mysterious girl refine the steel? Suddenly releasing purple smoke that wandered around her, she then formed a hand seal. At the same time, she urged out her star crest. Princess Ling Yan continuously formed seals, her star energy completely activated. The purple star birth outline steel very quickly had 3 star crests. Afterwards, a white star diagram also appeared on the steel, for Gong Kaiwei also joined the ranks of competitors. The resourceful strategist Zhu Sha stood guard next to her, not daring to act when she knew Wu Song was not someone she could face. Because Yan Wudao and Xie Zhenyuan were too far, they were obstructed outside by Wu Xiao, with no way to go fight for it. The 2 strongest Star Masters glanced at each other. Raising their sword chants, this time, the remaining martial force and magic energy Star Generals all fully moved out, attempting to destroy the other Star Masters' refinement. 6 green lights suddenly appeared. The featherless arrow Zhang Qing's concealed weapon simply was brilliant, like a demon. It could always appear in any place, and Dong Junqing's 2-star dragon and phoenix yin yang spear also was no mere decoration. Guarding against Zhang Qing's concealed weapon on one side while also facing Dong Junqing's fierce offensive on the other, even the cold Wu Xiao barely kept up. Bang, bang, bang. She blocked 3 of the concealed weapons, but the other 3 hit Wu Xiao's arm. A green light swept past, which made Wu Xiao fall back. Hey! Dong Junqing seized the chance to cross her double spears together in attack, twisting like a drill towards the top of Wu Xiao's head. In the case the star general that did not sign a contract received a deadly attack, she would not enter the star nest, but would directly fall. When Lin Yingmei saw, her spear swept away Chao Zheng and Gong Wang. Shifting to a fast pace, the Arctic Star Serpent spear blocked Dong Junqing's double spears, and hefting her, she repelled the steadfast star. Yingmei, in the end, you are unwilling to sign a contract. Wu Xiao pensively said. Xiao, what are you saying? Lin Yingmei was hoarse. Otherwise, why would you come help me? Wu Xiao calmly said. Those cool and elegant pupils brimmed with a curiosity. The Lin Chong that has signed a contract would not have taken pity on other star generals. Your servant's master is not as you think. Lin Yingmei grit her teeth. Swish, swish. Again, there were artifacts and sword lights scattering. This time, the noble frost demonic lotus lazily brushed aside these attacks with a swing. You have been deceived by that man. Wu Xiao coldly looked at Su Xing. Your servant shall now go kill that man. Xiao, you dare. Lin Yingmei yelled, your servant naturally understands your logic. Those peerless beautiful good looks of Wu Xiao were still expressionless, but her murderous aura overall had at last greatly eased. The relationship between you two sisters is pretty good. It would be better to give Dong Junqing the pleasure of joining in your intimacy. 2. A dallying voice sounded out, and Dong Junqing laughed evilly. Her dragon and phoenix yin-yang spears crossed, with one hot and the other cold. Great rays of spearlight like crescent moons seemingly poured out. It was the yin-yang cross slash. A chill flashed in both Wu Xiao and Lin Yingmei at the same time. The noble frost demonic lotus and the Arctic Star Serpent spear, in the middle of their rise and fall, unexpectedly stopped Dong Junqing's yin-yang cross slash. Their mutual understanding made Dong Junqing lose her color. At this moment, the other star generals also saw Wu Xiao and Lin Yingmei's distinctness. These two legendary star maidens that would not sign contracts in 1,000 years were back to back with each other. They had a kind of exceptionally frightening magic energy, so the star generals subconsciously recalled a legend from the previous generation. The 8th-generation Harm Star Pilgrim Wusong and majestic Star Panther Head Lin Chong joined hands to greatly topple the Maiden Mountain, and it was at the 5th phase at the very end they met with encirclement and annihilation by more than 10 Star Masters. At that time, the two chilly Star Generals were back to back just like this, calm and smiling. And the final outcome was recorded in history. In the end, Wusong slayed all the Star Masters, and from that generation of Maiden Mountain Star duels, she held supremacy. Furthermore, that Lin Chong that fought together with her had reportedly fallen in battle. As for the inside details, nobody knew, but seeing these two have such a deep rapport from their hearts, the rest immediately leapt high. We must kill them. All the Star Generals came up with an idea, and all the Star Masters came up with an idea. Boom! Another fire dragon pillar collapsed. The final forbid dance was approaching a crisis. Yingmei, your servant shall help you this time. Your servant wants to see just what capabilities your master has. Wu Xiao icily said. And, Lin Yingmei affirmed. You are making elder sister somewhat burn with lust and envy. Dong Junqing shouted. Under her vigor, all the others once again attacked. Silhouettes overlaid, and Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiao attacked the left and right. A spear like a bright star, with lifting wind and falling snow, wherever it passed, if it was not a hurricane fiercely roaring, it was a spell of chilliness that pierced into the bone, a matchless foe. Wu Xiao's figure was even more magnificent, seemingly graceful. The noble frost demonic lotus was dabbed with snow, its sword chi like a weaved thread. Her footwork was wonderful, repeatedly leaving afterimages. Dong Junqing did not dare be careless when she saw this, her double spears presenting a defensive power. The knife-wielding demon Chao Zheng and the flowery-necked tiger Gong Wang immediately used each of their yellow rank battle techniques. A saber technique fine to the smallest unit, it was seemingly even able to completely dismember a mosquito. Handling close quarters combat, it was extremely exceptional. The flowery-necked tiger Gong Wang's dark-hilt tiger devil saber was a blade like a fierce tiger, and a ferocious tiger fiend pounced out of the blade. Who would have thought Wu Xiao would lightly pass it by? The noble frost demonic lotus was more mysterious than Chao Zheng's fine saber technique. That magnificent double-headed sword brushed over, and the G-star had been struck back into the star nest before she could react. The victorious star flowery-necked tiger's tiger fiend also was not able to approach Lin Yingmei. The panther head's body techniques warped, leading to a miss. When she fell to the ground, her stomach already had been punctured with a big hole, and Gong Wang also returned to the star nest. The agile star Zhang Biluo no longer hesitated, using her yellow rank style. The 6 asking directions to the underworld stone somehow became 60. At this moment, in the midst of refining the birth outline, Shower clearly occupied the superior position, and her star energy was simply incomparable. In the blink of an eye, golden light covered Gong Kaiwei, Zhao Hanyan, and the others' star crests while Su Xing's difficult battle was approaching imminent danger. Shower calmly flipped through hand seals, and the golden light had just about already completely wrapped up the birth treasure outline. Su Xing and the others were already nearly at their limit. Go! Zhao Hanyan abruptly shouted, and the 72 outer void flying immortal swords formed a sword array. Sword light all of a sudden flashed and stabbed at Shower. Shower struck a seal, and a weapon wrapped in gold flew out that clashed with Zhao Hanyan's sword chant. Gong Kaiwei also unexpectedly formed a seal, and the 5 elements weather banner magic circle suddenly appeared. Just when those 3 were careless, Su Xing all of a sudden yelled. Su Xing's forehead simultaneously flashed 4 star crests. These star crests each were entirely different, yet they all followed the path of the heavenly spirit and earthly fiend. Simultaneously releasing resplendent light, the 4 star crests appearing at the same time was just like one becoming 4. The light of the birth treasure outline inside the stone steel glowed brighter, and a great expanse of golden fire sailed out, unexpectedly covering the imprints of the 3 girls in the blink of an eye. The entire stone steel rapidly split open, spinning with a rumble. A moment later, there was a bang, and the birth treasure outline broke the stone, shooting out and into Su Xing's forehead. How can this be? Shower and the rest were extremely startled. How did they not think that Su Xing would unexpectedly finish refining the birth treasure outline in such a short time? I won't be keeping you company. Su Xing also did not expect matters would progress this smoothly. At once, he was about to call out to Lin Yingmei. At this moment, Gong Kaiwei wanted to go snatch it back, but her hand extended and stopped. She unexpectedly did not know how she should raise her hand against this man that once preserved her own purity, and Zhu Sha's magic circle also hesitated to a stop along with the princess. When Zhao Hanyan saw, she was indescribably resentful. She had the 1000-year contact on her, so she naturally also could not possibly act against Su Xing. Shower also seemingly gave up. The result was that the 3 girls' eyes helplessly watched Su Xing take away the birth treasure outline. Although the birth treasure outline had been taken, there was still an additional 4 chests that these girls would not miss. There was a scream. As it turned out at this moment, Wu Xiao's noble frost demonic lotus penetrated a cultivator. This cultivator was not just anyone, but the renowned Xie Zhenyuan. Without a star general's protection, in a close-quarters confrontation with the heavenly harm star, Xie Zhenyuan simply completely lacked the opportunity to resist. Wu Xiao's brows did not wrinkle at all, and just as her next attack was about to send him off, suddenly at this moment, a figure abruptly appeared and laid over Xie Zhenyuan's body, shouting, "Elder sister, don't." That 12 or 13-year-old girl made Wu Xiao's sword tip directly stop before her neck. "Rulan, flee, quickly." Xie Zhenyuan coughed blood, forming a hand seal. The flying sword confronting the white and black unicorn tiger lazily turned back. Seeing that he was unwilling to give up, why would the harm star no leniency? A cold wind blew straight. With a boom, the 9 dragons' divine fire pillars completely collapsed. The purple cloud then dispersed away. Su Xing thought to himself, shit. With a big step forward, he reached Lin Yingmei's side. The majestic star shook her spear, blowing back Dong Junqing. Yingmei, we're leaving, now. Su Xing called and had Lin Yingmei enter the star nest. In a rare instance, Lin Yingmei hesitated as she looked at Wu Xiao. Wu Xiao's expression coldly stared at Lin Yingmei. It was hard to tell what her feelings were. Where do you think you can run to? There was a bellow like thunder, and an immense spiritual pressure pressed down from above, squeezing the space together. It was as if the 5 sacred mountains were pinning them. They were incapable of breathing, and the movements of their whole bodies immediately became incomparably rigid. 100 figures appeared all at the same time, encircling their surroundings. These were the sects that had waited for a long time. Zhenyuan. The extreme clarity elder immortal saw Xie Zhenyuan's whole body was bloody, and with a flick, a rolling breeze blew Wu Xiao away. The other disciples promptly stepped forward to support Xie Zhenyuan and bring him back. The other sect's ancestral masters at this moment looked at each other in dismay. Could it be that tiny pink-clothed girl was Xie Zhenyuan's star general Su Xing's divine intent latched onto the purple star-grade jade pendant, preparing at any time for paradise in a flash? This entire group was full of abnormalities here, and he certainly did not have interest being with them. That Xian Jinzi and the Queen Lady of Ice saw their own apprentices were handling purple star grades, and they went along to destroy the above protection. Purple Thunder Monster, today, this ancestor and you cannot live under the same sky. The Su Feng he had brought here for the purple star birth outline became the sole star master to fall, which made ancestor Huai Mu unable to restrain his anger. He itched to turn Su Xing into mincemeat. His sword chant activated and twisted over. The other ancestors were stunned. With a detached point of view, Ancestor Heavenly Fire's eyes were even somewhat grimly smiling. Lin Yingmei's 2-star destined weapon hacked out a cold tip to that broke the sword chant. Ancestor Huai Mu angrily shouted, forming seals with his hands. A mountain immediately dropped from the sky. That mountain was 100 zhang, its size terrifying. Ancestor Huai Mu unexpectedly used the mountain-moving peak flipping art, too, an ability that was actually quite amazing. But Ancestor Huai Mu had not yet pressed the mountain downwards when Su Xing raised his hand, and purple thunder burst out of his arm. This was the 5 Spirits' Law books, Divine Thunder Slays the Dragon. The purple thunder was like a perfectly straight sharp sword, and it flashed over. Immediately, it arrived in front of Ancestor Huai Mu. Ancestor Huai Mu was momentarily astonished. Hastily bringing out the mountain to go block it, the mountain surprisingly was shattered. Why are you not acting to destroy this monster? Ancestor Huai Mu had been frightened full of cold sweat. Only then did he recall that handling the dragon and then going to break the forbid dance just now had left him with nearly no magic energy. He was almost about to die at the hands of a galaxy stage, and seeing the other ancestors smile peacefully without lifting a finger, he angrily yelled. Only a galaxy late-stage cultivator, he is unworthy of us raising a hand. Ancestor Heavenly Fire's voice was low. When Ancestor Huai Mu saw them like this, he knew that they were considering the Liangshan Maiden's might. The last purple star chest was taken by shower. She looked at the surrounding cultivators, then said a sentence that made Su Xing burst out laughing. The plundering of the purple star chest has already ended. Everyone must be tired, so let's adjourn. Su Xing very much wanted to leave, but looking at the surrounding cultivators that scowled, they simply did not give him any outlet. Of course, what he was even more worried about was Lin Yingmei. The girl seemingly was somewhat hesitant towards Wusong. At this moment, Su Xing suddenly noticed an odd phenomenon. Originally, he had thought the numerous cultivators would blast him with criticism, then wish they could take him apart. However, he suddenly discovered at this time, those supercluster stage monsters each stared at one person. It was none other than Wu Xiao. What was going on? Seeing Lin Yingmei's brow crease, he had an ill premonition. Wu Song is in danger this time. A somewhat frail voice sounded out in his brain. Little Yi, are your injuries fine? Su Xing nervously asked. When he used the star crests to refine the birth treasure outline just now, it was because he worried that he did not use Little Yi's star energy. Many thanks for Master's concern. Little Yi is already fine. Just now, why is it that you say she is in danger? Su Xing said, do these supercluster cultivators want to kill Wu Song? But aren't they not permitted to interfere in the star duels? Yet they can kill me, ha, ha. Su Xing already used his identity as a star master to steal the Blooming Water Sword sect's heavenly book. This could be considered as meddling with the other factions. Then, that faction would be justified in handling him. A complete star general does not receive the Liangshan Maiden's protection. Little Yi replied. Su Xing was stunned. It was only natural that he knew what a complete star general was. Past the third phase, all the star generals would truly sink into close-quarters combat. At this time, the Liangshan Maiden would no longer limit the course of the star duels at all. Because after the passing of the third phase Evil Smiting Hall, all the star generals would at least already be able to mature into Liangshan's most lofty. They could not be said to be unequaled, but being killed was not that simple. Su Xing immediately understood the current situation. Because of Wu Song's special causes behind obtaining her star beast in the second phase, it could be said that she became a complete star general in advance. In this case, she would naturally suffer the surveillance of the other cultivators. However, it was not really reconnaissance into Wu Song's star energy, but her white and black unicorn tiger, rather. A spirit beast that came from this sort of star world could mature alongside its master. Obtaining one was no different from letting a sect's influence greatly swell. But it was not necessarily completely an advantage. If a sect did this, they would be met with the assault of the star generals in the next generation of star duels. Because a sect possessing a star beast could be considered interfering with the star duels any way it was put, these star generals would destroy these sects as a matter of course. However, the Most High Path was the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 school naturally would not fear this kind of threat. Wu Song. HM. A Wu Song that has obtained her star beast. The Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal of the Most High Path laughed oddly. You unexpectedly dare to walk right into the trap. The white and black unicorn tiger roared, showing snow-white teeth. Wu Xiao shot a glance at Lin Yingmei, then returned to the side of the Most High Path. With a voice cold like the crunch of snow, you think you can stop your servant? You heavily wounded my apprentice. Leave behind that white and black unicorn tiger, and this old immortal shall let you go. The Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal chuckled, his expression arrogant. Soon after, he said to everyone, this purple thunder monster has obtained the birth treasure outline. This immortal no longer wants it, and you all can take it if you wish, but this Wu Song nearly killed this immortal's apprentice. Today, she must pay the price. He said it with such righteousness that it was inspiring, but everyone knew that the Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal was only finding an excuse. From what he said, the other sects could not easily fight with him and could only give up on that legendary white and black unicorn tiger, secretly expressing what a pity it was. But that purple thunder monster was not bad either. He reportedly had the devil-suppressing steel and the ghost's god's bane. Your servant truly is fortunate, to be able to have this many elder seniors confront your servant. Ha, ha. Su Xing laughed as he cupped his fists. Cease your babbling, you wretch. This palace's master is the Grand Azure Dragon True Immortal, how could you commit this kind of shameless shoddiness? Zhao Hanyan shouted, secretly helping Su Xing. When Xian Jinzi heard Zhao Hanyan say as such, he was somewhat embarrassed. In any case, he was supercluster late stage with the title of True Immortal. To have him use his greater powers to take unfair advantage of someone smaller than him, he could not do so. Wait until the next phase. You had best keep your life and wait for this palace to personally help herself to you. Zhao Hanyan's words made Dong Junqing sneer continuously. How could she not discern that Princess Ling Yan was doing her utmost to protect Su Xing? Okay. Xian Jinzi spoke in monastic terms. To every fellow he bowed his head. The true immortal palace will not interfere in the star duels. We are leaving. As he spoke, flying swords lifted, and the true immortal palace left. Queen, let us also return. Gong Kaiwei said. The heavenly ice holy palace shall also not wade in these muddy waters. The Queen Lady of Ice held no interest whatsoever in the purple thunder monster. Though the devil-suppressing steel was fine, it was still the ghost's god's bane that was the hot potato which would scald the hand. Seeing Gong Kaiwei also disinterested, the cold cloud folded and left these white deer highlands. Obtaining a heaven-swallowing silver dragon was enough, and the blue wave palace helplessly could only also depart. Then, the divine wood valley, the transforming life door and the heavenly river sword school saw the four great sword sects already were concerned with the purple thunder monster. They as small schools naturally lacked the qualifications to say anything more. So as to avoid falling into a misunderstanding someday, whatever great against small that was, just use many to take unfair advantage of few. With this, the White Deer Highlands was left with only the Most High Path, the Lifeless Hall, the Divine Flame Sword Sect and the Tai Sword Sect. Ha, this ancestor is very fond of this purple thunder monster's ghost god's bane. It seems Emperor Liang is also searching for this, so it would be better to allow this ancestor to help you safeguard it. Ancestor Longevity chuckled. Yen Wudao, this is how you treat the benefactor who saved your life? Su Xing calmly said. He flicked his hand, and a lifeless jade marble arrived in Yen Wudao's hand. Among those present, only Yen Wudao and his star general made Su Xing uneasy. Thus, his plan was to first make him leave. Originally, Su Xing planned to use the jade pendant to return to the abode, but now it seemed things had seemingly changed. When Yen Wudao received the jade, he immediately recalled the Su Xing that saved his life that day. Stunned, his expression was speechless. He then used sound transmission, and Elder Longevity froze. Coldly smiling, today's matters here are resolved. Wudao, let us leave. The lifeless hall departed. Finally, only 3 large schools remained. As far as the Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal was concerned, their departure was not worth much mention. This old Taoist was completely focused on Wusong's white and black unicorn tiger. With this spirit beast, that white tiger territory's remoteness would allow him to go as he pleased. It could not be said for certain whether he could find life-extending spirit fruit. In spite of the Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal's supercluster late stage, his lifespan was nearly exhausted with no other choice. For Ancestor Huai Mu and Ancestor Heavenly Fire, Su Xing was their most hated person. The former lost his disciple. If he did not kill the purple thunder monster, how would he rid himself of the hate in his heart? The latter was because Zhao Heng had been repelled, which made the Divine Flame Sword Sect waste its dowry. Of course, on an even deeper layer of his desire to kill, it was because the heaven-tearing gold dragon they so painstakingly worked to kill had been stolen. If it was not for these 3 matters happening at the same time, they would not necessarily have interest in meddling in this star duel. The 10 large schools were left with 3 after 7 left, but those 3 had supercluster stage monsters. Among them was the Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal, who was even the supercluster stage's #1 cultivator. Any way it was put, the situation was extremely dire. Wusong, you heavily wounded this immortal's disciple. If you leave that white and black unicorn tiger behind, this immortal could let you go. The Extreme Clarity Elder Immortal manner was mild as wind and light as clouds. How dignified. Shower chuckled. With golden star weapon in hand, its light was lofty. Since we dared to come plunder, could it be that we fear you? Wu Xiao did not reply to the extreme clarity elder immortal's words. Her cold pupils continuously were faintly hung on Lin Yingmei, making Su Xing see it as very unsettling. Yingmei, let's go. Su Xing firmly shouted. He grabbed Lin Yingmei's and fled on his riding sword. How could the three great sects' three supercluster monster be things he could contend against as he currently was? Even if they had wasted the majority of their essence energy killing the dragons, their remaining power was sufficient to squeeze him to death. His sword light instantly escaped 1,000 meters away. Ancestor Huaimu showed gloom. Not urgently yet not slowly, he asked, Ancestor Heavenly Fire, we shall go kill this purple thunder monster together. How about we enforce justice on the behalf of heaven? We shall divide his possessions evenly. Su Xing using the blooming water divine thunder to break his mountain ability a moment ago made Ancestor Huaimu somewhat fearful. Now, he recalled a few instances where this appetizer of a purple thunder monster shockingly reached across ranks to kill people. Ancestor Bailey and the Ghost Cavalry King, either one was able to destroy this galaxy cultivator with a flip of their hand, yet they were planted right onto the purple thunder monster's hand. Ancestor Huaimu's anger had passed, and he had calmed. This old man has already wanted render a service to the public by getting rid of this menace. Ancestor Heavenly Fire nodded. The two ancestors did not mind Wu Song or their disciples. Two bolts of escape light together launched a pursuit. When the cultivators spectating in the surroundings of the White Deer Highlands saw the supercluster stage monsters become hostile, they hastily scrambled as far away as they cowed. A faint wind blew. Su Xing turned his head to look and spotted Ancestor Heavenly Fire was catching up, his hand releasing a burning flame. Lin Yingmei coldly grunted and was just about to go on the attack. Su Xing held her back with one arm, curbing her urge. Then, he turned around and launched the blooming water divine thunder to block this burning fire. Afterwards, he waved the astral treasure in his hand, releasing sky-filling arc of flame. A firefly's glow dares to strive for splendor against the sun and moon. Ancestor Heavenly Fire laughed. He drew a circle using both hands, and the astral treasure's flame was easily ripped apart. On his empty palm, countless rainbow shadows pierced through the flames. Then, they were shaken back by his power, transforming into a fire dragon barrier that encircled Su Xing in the blink of an eye. Su Xing's expression changed. Ancestor Heavenly Fire coldly grinned, striking a sword chant hand seal. The flames surrounding Su Xing immediately became a raging clinging fire sword. Surprisingly, 56 of these densely packed themselves to encircle Su Xing. Just as Ancestor Heavenly Fire was about to clench his hands, to make the flying swords burn Su Xing to ash, Ancestor Huaimu yelled, Heavenly Fire, don't you burn away his astral bag. Lin Yingmei's Arctic Star Serpent Spear released ice, snow, and cold air to obstruct this inferno. If it was not for Ancestor Heavenly Fire's star energy being greatly exhausted, perhaps this would not have been that simple. Overestimating yourself. Ancestor Heavenly Fire formed another seal, and more than 50 of the clinging fire flying swords attacked with greater ferocity. Lin Yingmei was in imminent danger. Su Xing grit his teeth when he saw. He shouted loudly, Do you not want my things? Your servant shall give them to you. After he spoke, Su Xing flicked his hand, and a bag was thrown out. Ancestor Heavenly Fire and Ancestor Huaimu saw this at the same time and simultaneously pounced, wanting to seize the chance. Ancestor Huaimu had continuously stared fixedly at Su Xing's movements, so he was faster than Ancestor Heavenly Fire. In an instant, he snatched the bag, and scanning with his divine intent, he was furious. This is an empty bag. Ancestor Heavenly Fire caught the bag, and then he also knew they had been toyed with. In a split second, an air-shattering noise boomed. It was a galaxy stage artifact in the form of a seal. Ancestor Heavenly Fire said, How laughable. He waved a hand to split this artifact into dust, but just as Ancestor Heavenly Fire prepared to launch a sword array to grind Su Xing apart, he suddenly saw 3 red lights closely following behind the seal. Not good. Ancestor Heavenly Fire had only just reacted. Swish, swish, swish. 3 crossbow bolts red as blood broke straight through his defenses and pierced into his stomach. Ancestor Heavenly Fire yelled, only feeling a pain that was as if his 4 limbs, his bones, his entire body's meridians were being ripped apart. Raising his head to look, he discovered Su Xing already had another servant girl beside him. She grasped a crossbow in her hand, and that blood-red crossbow had been fired from that hand. A star general, Ancestor Heavenly Fire violently spat out a mouthful of blood. Scowling in anger, his sword art loudly covered Su Xing, and a range of 100 meters could only see the sky seemingly burn. Heavenly Fire, are you alright? Ancestor Huaimu had lingering fears. He had not expected this cultivator that looked as if he would buckle at the first blow would unexpectedly also have the skillful star. This old man will kill him. Ancestor Heavenly Fire bared his teeth. He shouted, and the swords were like burning fire. But just at this instant, there suddenly was a cyan hurricane that abruptly rolled by. These hurricane winds rolled about his sword-chant surroundings. Surprisingly, it unbelievably extinguished the burning flames. Su Xing, Lin Yingmei, and Yan Yizhen once again appeared. Although they seemingly had gone through a harrowing ordeal, overall, they were considered to have pulled through. Essence-swallowing dragons. Ancestor Heavenly Fire could not contain himself. How is there this kind of ancient demon dragon? Don't think you can hurt Big Brother. And Suan at this moment rushed over, unleashing 100 essence-swallowing dragons. These essence-swallowing dragons assumed an air of essence chi, for this fire energy was classified as one type of that. Ancestor Heavenly Fire's burning flames suddenly turned into treats for the essence-swallowing dragons. The sword chant assumed its original appearance, and Ancestor Heavenly Fire hastily recalled it. The essence-swallowing dragons became a cyan hurricane that violently surged. Ancestor Heavenly Fire was furious, and a red ring flew out from his palm. This treasure was known as Fire Dragon Mirror, depicted as a dragon biting its own tail. It could be said to be the strongest magic weapon Ancestor Heavenly Fire had aside from the boundless Sun Pearl. This counted as good fortune for Su Xing, for the boundless Sun Pearl had been eaten confronting the heaven-tearing gold dragon. Otherwise, how could Su Xing have persevered for this long? Ancestor Heavenly Fire threw the Fire Dragon Mirror, and the ring became a blazing dragon. The essence-swallowing dragons could consume any of the elementary forces in the world. The only way to hand them was to delay these essence-swallowing dragons from eating. Thus, history had the legend that essence-swallowing dragons exceeding 100 million had no rival. Thinking about it, 100 million essence-swallowing dragons simply could consume the entire Liangshan into an infertile wasteland. And Suan hastily recalled the essence-swallowing dragons, and the fire dragon went to bite Su Xing once it saw its objective had disappeared. Lin Yingmei raised her spear, and jumped forward to stab it. Ancestor Heavenly Fire coldly harumphed, and the clinging fire sword directly went on the attack. Under this precarious battle tempo, Ancestor Heavenly Fire suddenly sensed something amiss. He instinctively dodged, only to see 2 flying claws overshoot him from behind. The claws had a cold light, twinkling the light of a single star. Hoodwinking flying claws. Ancestor Heavenly Fire was stunned. Those flying claws turned around like snakes, the ancestor yelled loudly, and his spiritual pressure unexpectedly directly shook the flying claws back. Watch this, young ladies. A silhouette powerfully emerged, and who else could it be besides the thief star Shi Yuan? Then, with the boots refined from the clear sky feathers, this jump of the flea on a drum brought her right to Ancestor Heavenly Fire's body, and she thrust in 5 needles that were fine as hair. Ancestor Heavenly Fire's whole body hurt, and he realized then those needles were absolutely not normal items. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to break through his defenses. Enraged, he sent Shi Yuan flying 100 meters with one palm. The sword chant reversed to hack at her. At such a close range, Shi Yuan did not have any room to resist, and her whole body became a specter. 2. How was it another star general? Ancestor Heavenly Fire did not have enough time to be astonished, for he heard another crackling cold wind. But when he wanted to turn around to dodge, those needles inside his body activated, and his whole body violently ached. Careful! Ancestor Huaimu wanted to lend Ancestor Heavenly Fire a helping hand, but he heard a bang. He saw a girl hold a strange artifact, pointed at him. A conical projectile shot out, and Ancestor Huaimu prepared to directly use his power to pulverize this projectile. That projectile exploded, and a chill that reached to the bone rolled over. This cold air was like a spider's thread as it went past his body, and he became incapable of budging. If his cultivation was in peak condition, this chill naturally was nothing to him, but having just killed a dragon, his vitality was greatly depleted. The two star energies were not necessarily as robust as Su Xing's, and to break away from this cold required some time. But it was this time that had been seized by Su Xing. Ancestor Heavenly Fire screamed, his movements slowed greatly. Lin Yingmei rode the wind, the Arctic Star Serpent spear running through Ancestor Heavenly Fire's skull with nearly no resistance. Ancestor Heavenly Fire opened his eyes wide, not daring to believe this. He had wanted to use his sword chant with his dying breath, but Su Xing followed closely behind, attacking him with the blooming water divine thunder. Ancestor Heavenly Fire's organs were immediately shaken to pieces, and he was incapable of resisting anymore. The Divine Flame Sword sect's generational founder thus sullenly became a departed soul. Heavenly Fire. Ancestor Huaimu was aghast, his face losing its color. Humph. Su Xing smirked at him. A galaxy stage cultivator unexpectedly sneered at a supercluster stage cultivator, but this made Ancestor Huaimu shudder in fear. Ancestor Heavenly Fire's death was interlocked. In such a short time, a supercluster middle stage cultivator had fallen, and Ancestor Huaimu himself did not dare believe it. From the moment the Purple Thunder monster took Lin Chong to escape, they already had fallen into a trap. This galaxy stage monster did not wish to run, he wished to kill them. Ancestor Huaimu's eyes showed fear. He saw the star crest on Su Xing's forehead change without pause, and shockingly, he had 3 more. 3 girls formed a triangle to obstruct him. 1 raised a spear. 1 called for dragons. 1 held a fan. The foreheads of the 3 girls had stars. Shockingly, they were star generals. Just who the hell are you? Ancestor Huaimu loudly bellowed, how could you possibly sign 3, no, 4, 5 star generals? Ask your question in the next life. Su Xing's palms were empty, and then 2 bolts of purple thunder dragon claws bit at Ancestor Huaimu. Go! Ancestor Huaimu raised his sword chant, and a blue light circulated, spinning around his whole body. It broke this purple thunder dragon capture, but he no longer wanted to battle Su Xing, instinctively wanting to flee, Su Xing instantly destroying the far more powerful Ancestor Heavenly Fire truly left too terrifying an impression. Wu Xinjie waved the fan, adding on speed is a crucial asset in war. Su Xing and the rest's speeds instantly surpassed his. An ice-cold silhouette stopped Ancestor Huaimu, and Lin Yingmei's spear tip stabbed out with cold snow speckled upon it. And Suan's essence swallowing dragons also surged again for the kill. Humph. Ancestor Huaimu raised a green banner known as Eyes Obscured by a Single Leaf, 3, which was a figure concealing supreme-grade magic weapon. Waving the banner, his figure immediately disappeared without a trace. Careful! Su Xing's divine intent swept. Suddenly, he heard a scream. With a look, he saw Ancestor Huaimu had reappeared 100 meters away, but his entire body had been stuck full of golden needles. The form was extremely frightening, and following the path of the golden needles, Su Xing and the rest looked. To their shock, the one who appeared was not a stranger, but it was Tang Lianxin. Su Xing continued to spectate the situation from below. It was not that he did not want to help, but he actually could not muster any strength. He did not have that sort of innate skill of star generals that reached across ranks for killing blows. Right now, he was but galaxy early stage. To confront a supercluster late-stage cultivator, to use a game term to describe things, this extreme clarity elder immortal was practically a Zumatoris, whereas Su Xing counted as a level 20 warrior holding an Azura and had just equipped heavy armor, which simply could not break through the defenses. The sole attack that was effective would probably be the thunder as a pinpoint strike inside the blooming water Divine Thunder Law book, Divine Thunder slaying the dragon. However, having experienced the plundering of the Purple Star birth outline and the exhaustion of killing 2 founders, even if he was signed with 5-star generals, he was unable to bear that consumption, especially when Yan Yizhen and Shi Yuan were both forced into the star nest. Su Xing's strength was also greatly diminished, and now, that a Divine Thunder slaying the dragon, that he could use twice at most, meant it was almost game over. Of course, the reason why Su Xing came was not purely to spectate. Possessing the red ink iron certificate, it could not be said for sure if this unequaled divine tool could help Lin Yingmei at a critical moment. Su Xing condensed blooming water Divine Thunder in his hand, the purple chi expansively twisting on his arm, ready at any time and waiting for the right chance. Suddenly seeing the extreme clarity elder immortal bring out a dark miraculous spirit jade tree, Su Xing was greatly alarmed. Hearing Wu Xingjia's shocked voice, Su Xing was even more astonished. These days, he was proficient in weapon refinement, so Su Xing naturally was not as inexperienced when he first began. Hearing it was the miraculous Bodhi tree was a surprise, for this was a prehistoric spirit treasure. Liangshan continent's magic weapons had many classifications, but there more or less were 3 types: magic, star, and ancient. Magic included artifacts and magic weapons, the sort of items cultivators commonly used. Their varieties were many, and not much needed to be clearly said about their grades. Then, the astral treasures and astral tools of the star naturally were born when the star duels began. Standing a rank above magic, their users did not face any restrictions. They could be said to be Liangshan continent's most legendary items. And the final was ancient. This type was somewhat complex. They were treasures left behind by the ancient, immemorial, and ancient prehistory eras before the era of the star duels. Ancient lost treasures could be refined into any stage of usable magic weapon. Immemorial secret treasures reportedly each were magic weapons that had some forbidden or overwhelming power. And lastly, the ancient prehistory type counted as Liangshan continent's pinnacle treasure. These treasures had been refined in the prehistoric era. They possessed the entire world's most primitive and pure powers that were extremely strong. For this reason, prehistoric spirit treasures were also called innate magic weapons. Besides star generals, there were no restrictions on its usage by cultivators. On the prehistoric spirit ceiling list, this miraculous Bodhi tree was a rank 8 treasure at the minimum. In addition, it seemed this treasure was not a fake. Surprisingly, it was a genuine prehistoric spirit treasure. Su Xing silently said, "Wow. This supercluster number 1 cultivator was robust in capital, as expected, worthy of the name Most High Path. Having such abnormal items, this miraculous Bodhi tree certainly could break 10,000 techniques under heaven." The narration of this matter was complicated, but it was something in the matter of a second. At this time, a thick, multicolored propitious vapor completely wrapped the surrounding dozen li, yet it did not disperse. Even Lin Yingmei, Wu Xiao, Shower were wrapped within. The treasure light twinkled with the luster of gems, 7 colors of divine light rolling, like a nebula. A situation where not one bit of the inside could be seen. The multicolored vapors gradually rose, went from top to bottom, and easily eliminated the murderous aura of 3 top-notch star generals. The extreme clarity elder immortal flung the miraculous Bodhi tree, its vapor becoming a pure blue galaxy of silver that struck the 3 girls. This galaxy was intangible and immaterial, but it beat on their star energy defense as if it was nothing. The 3 star generals immediately were flung down. This miraculous Bodhi tree broke their protective star energy, and the 3 clarities sword chant once again rose. Just as it was about to execute them cleanly, Su Xing at this time could no longer watch with folded arms. Even if he could not shake this old monster, his defenses were not weak. Several green, lustrous talismans were thrown out. Those talismans turned a green, spiderweb-like thread in midair, clinging onto all of the flying swords. These talismans were taken from Ancestor Huai Mu's astral bag, and they were supreme-grade talismans that dominated flying swords. "Run, quickly!" Su Xing shouted at them. This supercluster old monster was too fierce. They simply were not his opponent. Then, he launched his final 2 bolts of divine thunder slays the dragon. The purple thunderbolt broke through the jade divine light, then rushed straight at the extreme clarity elder immortal. The extreme clarity elder immortal raised his right hand, and swinging the miraculous Bodhi tree, its light flashed. They heard an explosion, and the blooming water divine thunder was blown to pieces, going up in smoke. The miraculous Bodhi tree gracefully floated, without the slightest bit of fiery chi. It completely did not have the obvious enormous power of other magic weapons. Its treasure light attacked them, carrying a cruel and tyrannical chi. The extreme clarity elder immortal easily went over, just like a dust speck, easily and calmly. He truly had the position of the adept of the generation. However, to use the prehistoric spirit treasure required super deep magic energy for support. From watching this elder immortal alone kill the firmament cyan dragon, perhaps even if his cultivation was number 1, he could not support it for long. Thinking of running? The extreme clarity elder immortal strangely grinned. 12 jadeite mirrors suddenly floated out, forming an immense space that enveloped the group within. The mirrors released blue flames that continuously reflected. This was his strongest forbid dance magic weapon, jade light-colored glass mirror. The mirror's flames directly squeezed towards the group. Wu Xinjie used star energy to do her utmost to go block it. Fortunately, the knowledge star's star energy reserves continuously were unused, so the attack stopped after a while. Humph. The extreme clarity elder immortal once again shook the miraculous Bodhi tree. Its divine light dropped. The group's defenses immediately crumbled. The blue flames of the jade light-colored glass mirror surged over. Even if they did not die, perhaps they would be burnt into crippled states. Su Xing activated the second territory-breaking talisman, which could break any forbid dance or seal, and this jade light-colored glass mirror was no exception. Breaking the forbid dance of the jade light-colored glass mirror, Su Xing brought the girls immediately flying upwards, escaping the murderous bloodthirst of this mirror. The extreme clarity elder immortal was taken aback. He did not expect the purple thunder monster would surprisingly have this many supreme-grade talismans, leaving him secretly frightened. This purple thunder monster is really as the rumors say, the treasures on him must be numerous. The extreme clarity elder immortal flipped his hand, and the jade light-colored glass mirror again was about to reorganize its forbid dance. The territory-breaking talisman could break through temporarily, but his supreme-grade magic weapon could be used countless times. It was time to see if his territory-breaking talismans could endure the consumption. Old monster, you have made this great ant very displeased. Just at this moment, Shower's voice coldly shouted. Both her hands clenched that golden, glinting weapon. The star energy of the girl's whole body condensed onto the weapon, her eyes shining with a golden light. The extreme clarity elder immortal knew from a look she was about to use the star general's yellow rank move, yet he was neither rushed or slow as he held on to the miraculous Bodhi tree. No matter how outstanding your star magic is, a light wave is all this immortal needs to break it. Hey! Shao yelled. The weapon rose into the air. The golden light from the weapon shot straight out and up into the skies. The extreme clarity elder immortal clutched the miraculous Bodhi tree, waiting for the right opportunity. Nearly within the blink of an eye, 12 golden lights fell from the sky. The front portion of these golden lights changed forms, as if they were the legendary golden qilins. That speed truly was shocking, and Wu Xinjie's expression changed. Yellow rank move. Qilin fall sky flash. Not good. The extreme clarity elder immortal's expression changed. He hastily shook the miraculous Bodhi tree. Its divine light was multicolored, its propitious vapors sprinkling a galaxy. But this Qilin fall skyflash's speed was too fast. The 12 golden lights were not aimed at the extreme clarity elder immortal, but, shockingly, the jade light-colored glass mirror. The divine light swept towards the close's 2 golden lights, but the other 10 were like divine soldiers. With a Qilin's roar, they fell into the colored mirrors. With a shattering sound, the colored glass mirrors fragmented. The treasure light broke down, and the blue flames were extinguished. The magic weapon immediately dimmed. To destroy this immortal's magic weapon, this immortal wants your life. The extreme clarity elder immortal's complexion was pale. With a loud yell, the miraculous Bodhi tree and flying swords together flew over. The most high jade clarity sword light scattered, simply overwhelming. Lin Yingmei raised her spear to block it, but the elder immortal struck a hand seal. The sword light slowly changed, like 10,000 swords that pierced her body. Yingmei! Wu Xiao cried out in fear. Lin Yingmei was also incapable of holding out. Her figure scattered like light smoke. Su Xing's head hurt, and he knew that Lin Yingmei had also entered the star nest. Hey! Wu Xiao's eyes had a furious expression, and the noble frost demonic lotus directly broke the most high jade clarity sword array. Su Xing silently cursed her stupidity. The other supercluster stage old monster possessed the miraculous Bodhi tree, so what was the point of her going all out? The extreme clarity elder immortal that possessed the miraculous Bodhi tree simply was not something the star general could hit as she currently was. Nice try. The extreme clarity elder immortal shook the miraculous Bodhi tree, as Su Xing had anticipated. The noble frost demonic lotus was but only 2 stars, it simply was incapable of stopping the prehistoric spirit treasure's might. Wu Xiao vomited a mouthful of blood, and her figure fell like a phoenix with broken wings. She was wide open, and the extreme clarity elder immortal was about to easily execute Wu Xiao. Su Xing was incapable of watching her die without saving her. He flew forwards, wrapping himself around Wu Xiao as he turned his body. The Wu Xiao that had been brushed several times by the Bodhi was incomparably weak, and being embraced by Lin Chang's master, her body struggled. Su Xing paid her no mind. If she died, then would Lin Yingmei not have wasted all of her effort, and then, the sword light fell straight down. And Suan called the essence-swallowing dragons to block the old monster's attack. Cyan winds rolled against the sword light, buying Su Xing some time. The extreme clarity elder immortal pointed, and green light suddenly condensed above Suan's head, forming a huge sword that swung at her. And Suan's expression changed. Suddenly, golden light gathered right above the tip of Suan's hand, forming a similarly large sword that blocked the extreme clarity elder immortal's sword chant. It was Tang Lianxin. The extreme clarity elder immortal oddly smiled. His spirit energy pressed against them, and the sword's power violently swept, forcing the group to repeatedly defend. Seeing him so harshly vicious, Su Xing already planned to use the red ink iron certificate. Just at this moment of danger, from the horizon, suddenly came the sound of someone composing a song. The red watches the molt of the gentleman, I wish even more to ask of heaven. Rouse from a dream the lonely crane of the Heng River. The gentleman uses thus to bow to the immortal stoops over. 5. The mysterious song was uninterrupted, winding straight through the horizon. Although this range of 100,000 li of plains had been enveloped by the green boundaries of the miraculous Bodhi tree, divine light, propitious vapors, and a drizzle, the song was clear. Every person could hear each word and phrase distinctly. An aroma floated about, and the heavenly song drifted over. Everyone instinctively redirected their lines of sight. They saw that span of sky and cloud roll open, and there was a beautiful and petite girl that was like cloud. She wore a refined, yet modest attire, and her hand held a multicolored sword. The rings along the sides of her head had a fragrance, and it seemed she was like an immaculate hermit adept. But what made them all surprised was not that mysterious song of hers, nor was it how she mysteriously appeared. Rather, it was that she was without a flying sword, yet she wandered the clear skies as if she tread on the ground. The clear skies were like a dragon that supported her feet from underneath, such that those legendary supervoid cultivators were merely mediocre. They saw the girl's forehead shine with a multicolored star crest, the star projecting a dragon. Across the 108-star Maidens of Maiden Mountain, to be able to wander leisurely among the clouds in the second phase, to sing charming and refined songs, there was but one star general that could achieve this. The ranked 4th leisure star. Dragon in the clouds, Gong Sun Sheng. And thus, we reach a turning point in the story in terms of translation. The context of this passage makes clear that artifact should have been magic tool, and that it should always have been star treasure and star tool. Would you guys like to see the vocabulary changed going forward? You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.